Arrendor is on the brink of upheaval. For centuries, the clan struggled against giants until 400 years ago, when dragons crossed the Great Sea, forcing them to unite and build the 10 Bastions. As the threat faded, the clans fractured into the 10 Kingdoms, and all but the last Bastion were abandoned. As ancient calamities stir and darkness rises in the east, my 4 champions must rise up to unite the kingdoms, restore the Bastions, uncover their secrets, and stand against this darkness as a declaration of war.
Calagon Dör. I will discover the secrets of my lineage and cement my legacy as one of the greatest adventurers of all time.
Cleave still in here. The migration of the dragons forced the migration of peoples and beasts, which brings death. We're all invasive species now. I won't let us become extinct ones.
The name's Rodrick Elwood, the voice of this generation, and the greatest performer in the world. Oh, and you should see me with a bow.
And I, Arlyn Dursalai, searching for my father's sword, Trident, to bring justice to these lands. Together, we are the 4 Horsemen.
And this is Divine Inspiration.
Okay, I think just
Hello and welcome back. You feeling the love? I hope you feel the love. Just know that we are always with you as much as you are with us. Thank you for following along. We love you guys, and it is an absolute joy to be back here again today, as we hopefully finish off the repeats of these trials that have been so difficult for the 4 Horsemen.
Except Arlyn.
What's that? You said
Except Arlyn. He's the only one that won't finish a single one.
But it has been also difficult for him.
It has also been
really
difficult for Arlyn, unfortunately. We'll touch on that in a moment, but with that, I guess gather around, get cozy, and enjoy as we get to tell the tale of the Ziggurat as it is taken on by the 4 Horsemen, and we get to tell it by divine inspiration. So, with that, last we left off, of the 4 trials, Ether having started us off with Arlyn initially overcoming yet not quite conquering it, was now passed on to Cleave, who last week we got to see took on the unusual elemental in, of course, an unusual way, having drowned himself through this river of ether, only to come back refreshed with a new life and with a new weapon.
For Calagon.
For Calagon, apparently.
Sure.
Earth, the hardest of the trials, has unfortunately stumped both Calagon and Arlyn up until this point, having unfortunately been quite a difficult trial to overcome. What seems simple at face value clearly is quite the toughie, as unfortunately these guys have both been thrown out of this trial, deemed unfit to overcome it.
Rub it in, why don't you?
Fire. Wow. The challenging, terrifying, inescapable trial, conquered, of course, by the great conqueror, Rodrick Elwood. And water, which we have seen the least of thus far, is left open to Calagon. As the other horsemen have all gone on to take on their trials, Calagon, you find yourself stirring awake, seeing kind of foggy before you just tracks, footprints leading away from you. And within the divot of one of these footprints, you can see a small bit of parchment rolled up beside you.
The following is in my head since there's no one around. I can't believe they left me. Why didn't they wake me up? I don't know what to do. I'm gonna grab the paper. I'm gonna open it up. Looks like it's from Cleave.
Dear Callie, my old pally. I didn't want to disturb your slumber. You looked very much at peace, and we haven't had much of it for some time now. I want you to know that you have my full confidences, but just in case, I've left you with a little gift. Check your gem when you're on the mission. I'll be in there with you, even if I can't really be.
The gem.
I'm trying to be mysterious. When you're in there, I did spot a special armor, but I know you don't really like that stuff. But it seems to repel the cold. I don't know if you'll need that. In any case, this should help you. Remember, don't let the creature take you where it wants. Find your goal and get there. Just like I know you will. I love you. Amen.
Amen. It looks like he left me some good berries as well.
The I love you, amen, got me.
I knew it was a great idea.
Cleave is the best friend we all need in life, you know?
Literally.
Oh, that's awesome.
I love you. Amen.
I've never said amen when speaking to a friend.
Canonically, when he ends prayers in this world, they say "so be it," which is what amen means anyway.
I'm gonna
So be
start
it,
writing my boy Justin letters, and just so that I can tag them, I love you, amen. Oh, that's awesome.
Sounds like a tattoo
That's
idea.
how I'm doing in my signature from now on. After every email.
That might have to take the name of this episode. I love you, amen.
Yeah. Sparks just said that's going to be my email signature.
I didn't.
Phenomenal.
That was me genuinely being like, I don't know how I'm gonna end this.
How you gonna
I
end
don't know how to end this.
it? Well, you got it.
Sorry, I didn't mean to do
All right,
that.
let's get back into it.
I got myself
Which is,
too.
Alright.
really quick, while we're still metagaming, for everybody that can see that I am in a different place.
Yes.
David is in Texas right now.
I'm in Texas.
For some reason,
Texas
we
is
can't
to our
see
right. That's why we
actual
all
David
looked.
speaking over here,
Yeah.
and there's some other guy behind that screen over there
It's
talking.
absolutely crazy. Our producer wasn't here, so I am running production, and I am here at the producer table. But the cool thing
extra
is that
behind the scenes.
now we have a production cam, so I want to be able to integrate it in the future to certain moments. So
For insight
Pretty
check and all
darn
that.
cool. Yeah,
That'd be
it's pretty
cool.
exciting. I love getting to see all the progress made here at this table. And speaking of which, we got some incredible progress to make as we pick back up with Calagon, having just read this letter.
Okay.
Your friend still with you in spirit.
I love you. Amen. All right, Cleave. Appreciate the good berries, but what does he mean about that gem? I'm gonna take the gem out of my pocket. Does it look any different than it normally would?
You can tell that there is some sort of surging of light coming from inside.
Okay. Okay. Right. I'm assuming this will help me inside. I still can't believe they left me. I hope they're okay. I guess I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna start walking towards the area to enter.
All right. Fantastic. Then, wandering about, you eventually make your way to the doorway. Takes a good long while, as you know these stairs to be quite a trial to overcome in themselves.
Okay. Big
But-
deep breath and here we go.
As you now step forward into the darkness of this now already open door for you, you can feel immediately. It's like pressing your face against a cold window. It's this clear warmth to cold as you now just feel the shock blow throughout your system. And as you step in, it's not just your face. You can feel now as the water starts to well up at your feet, and it starts to freeze at your skin. And you can tell that any deeper into the water and it'll start getting worse and worse. Yet, as the kind of chill begins to overcome you, you can now start to make out instead this slight flurry, which slowly opens up to a platform, clearly heavily obscured all around you for this brief moment at least. As you look on, you can tell that it's starting to let up, slowly but surely. And eventually, you get a pretty good visual of what's before you.
This is even more beautiful than I imagined. Just so much water, so much cold water.
You can see now these massive ice crystals coming up from the ground around you. It's as though you're standing on a flattened platform, partially made of stone, and yet filled out the rest of the way with ice. And so, stepping foot onto this platform, it's clear that there's a plaque to your right now that reads, "Like water, you must flow freely, shaping your path without bending to the expectation of others. As a guardian, you must learn when to ride the currents, and when to carve your own course. Know when to fight, when to freeze, and when to force your way forward toward your purpose."
Does it look like from where I'm standing there is a endpoint that I need to get to, or a door or anything?
Having been prepped by Cleave somewhat previously, you get the sense that you can kind of look around and try to make out the general layout of what is around you. And immediately, stepping forward a little bit, you look upwards, and although slightly distracted for a moment, you kind of get this brief glimpse of the creature that he had mentioned, this water elemental, that almost seems like it's shifting, as though scouting the area. As far as any entry or exit, there does seem to be a clear doorway at the south side. It's almost like it's where you should have entered in from, and yet it doesn't quite look right. You can tell that, based on his description, that would have been the downward path that he was thrown out from, which somehow leads back to the doorway where you just entered into.
Okay.
And directly opposite, you can tell that there is one much, much larger raised platform to your left, at the north end of this kind of berg, if you will.
How tall or how far is the drop from the platforms to the water?
From the platform to the water, from where you're currently at, is probably about 15 feet currently.
Okay.
And the other platform is, I'd say, a good 25 feet above where you're at.
And do the ice bergs feel... Do they look like they're climbable? I mean, obviously it's ice, but does it look like there could possibly be a path from the water up onto platforms?
It definitely looks very slick. There's a slight wall, which might be able to benefit you in some way, but it's fairly high up before it's actually kind of that earthen structure.
Gotcha. Okay. I'm going to turn to the water elemental, and I'm going to get an overwhelming sense of fear and uneasiness, to the point where I even flash back to my childhood of playing in the local river, almost drowning, to when I'm a little bit older and my brothers playing in the lake and roughhousing and me almost drowning, and then cut to when I met Cleave and he jumped on me and I almost drowned. And I'm gonna get short of breath a little bit. I gotta do this. I gotta have a purpose. I gotta move forward. And I'm going to just take a couple steps towards the staircase, examining the elemental a little bit more.
As you now step forward, it's clear that you've caught its attention immediately. And with that, it immediately turns towards you and starts pouring its body downward as though to rush like a wave in your direction.
Okay.
Go ahead and roll initiative for me.
Oof, not great. 6.
6. Okay.
I will be clutching the gem. Since walking in, I'm gonna have it ready to go.
All right. With its 7 on initiative, the water elemental is going to go first.
Okay.
As now, much as it has been described to you previously, you can see this creature start to mold itself as though it didn't have any form in itself. And as it moves, rather than attacking like the previous golems had and trying to come up with some sort of limb, it just crashes over you, just toppling over where you previously were and swarming your entire form. With that, I would like for you to make a strength saving throw, please.
Nat 20.
Ooh.
That's 20. Okay.
Ooh,
Let's
let's go, Calagon.
Let's go. And then 19.
You have a -1 for strength.
For saving throws, yeah. For saving.
Okay.
I think I have a -1 for strength and yeah. Yep.
Then it is going to still pour over you, and as you kind of embrace the wave, it's very reminiscent of being at the beach where you feel that wave hit you, but luckily you're able to kind of bolster yourself in that last moment, kind of pushing your shoulder into it and guarding from that feeling as it now kind of rocks your body, and you can feel as your toes start to lift up off the ground for that moment. And from behind now, as it's coming back, it's like pulling back out from the shore, as now it crashes right back over you again with a 24 to hit.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that hits.
Okay. That's going to be 14 cold damage.
No way.
Okay.
As you can feel now, this water starts to overwhelm your presence, and yet as it pushes you back, rather than overwhelming your actual form as you expected it would, it's only able to crash into you for that time.
Cool. So I get a turn now?
It is your turn.
Cool. This will be my one and only turn, so... in all of that, all I'm gonna do, the only thing I know how to do, and I'm gonna try to alter self. It's a level 2 spell, and I'm gonna use the aquatic adaptation. So I'm gonna sprout gills and grow webs between my fingers, and I can breathe underwater, and I gain a swim speed equal to my speed.
Wow.
And am I able to use the... I wouldn't be able to use the gem, right, as well? Even it's not like prepared or anything. It's an action, I'm assuming.
If it's an action, it would be a little bit tougher.
Yeah.
For the sake of being true to character, being true to form, were you intentionally waiting to be overwhelmed by the elemental for alter self?
Any kind of combat, any kind of interaction, I was going to just see whatever Cleave had for me. But obviously, being inside the water, the first thing I want to do is adapt to that.
Okay.
So
it's not yet like around you like it was for Cleave. So it's not enveloping you.
Oh,
at
it
the
just
moment.
hit you.
It just hit you, yeah. So this one didn't quite get you because of that
Okay.
strength check.
Gotcha. Then I'll
Because
just
strength
use the gem then.
Okay.
As an action.
Cool.
Which is
Monster.
Longstrider. So I should be able to move 10 feet faster. And how long for? 1 hour?
An hour.
And I am going to run.
Okay.
Just dash as far as I can.
But it's so good at hitting you.
Huh? Oh, by disengaging?
It's so good at hitting you, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what else am I going to do? I don't see anything else to run towards besides the main platform.
Would you like to disengage prior to leaving, or do you want to just go full? I guess. Wait, Longstrider is in
They're
action.
all actions. These are all
Longstrider's in action already.
It wouldn't let him.
Yeah.
Yeah, prep.
Wait, so hold on. So what's happening here is he got to do one of them before the fight. Is that what's happening?
I mean, he reasonably would have been able to,
Okay.
but obviously that would have been up to Calagon to kind of prep, and that's why I'm kind of.
Yeah, I mean, I
dancing
did
around this a little
mention
bit
that
right
I'm
now.
obviously holding it, walking in and stuff, but I didn't actively say I'm holding
Cast
an
it.
action. But even if I did hold the action, he had a first action.
You could have
So-
definitely still held the action. I would say that that's certainly within reason.
But then it would have been my action.
But that would have been your
As a
reaction for
retaliation.
the first.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then,
And then you get
now
your
on
turn.
your new turn, you would have a separate action. I think that's plenty reasonable because, again, you were literally prepped for it, so that's why I'm kind of like, that's
Okay.
kind of weird. So I think that's definitely worth letting slide.
So then I'll do that and then disengage.
So
assuming-
disengage as an action and then use your movement
Yeah, the movement
to,
he gave me
to move 40 feet.
Yeah. Now the question is, I can't jump in the water because I'm just gonna get even more gold.
Yeah. Wait, so hold on. I'm just making sure. So he has used his bonus action this turn already? That's what you're saying?
Not my bonus action.
No, he
Right.
wouldn't have used anything this turn then if he would have just done Longstrider as the held action. Because you said you were doing Longstrider instead of
Longstrider.
Alter Self,
And now I'm debating on whether I should disengage
which just
as
means
my
he's
next
just
action.
started his turn and he has Longstrider.
So now I either disengage and run,
Or you,
Or you do alter self.
but I'm not in the water.
Well, either way, if I could suggest, I think he lets you use like eating stuff like good berries like as a bonus, right? So
Okay.
at least that helps your odds if you just like get hurt by like little cold damage or something.
Remember, this is a team discussion, guys. So you can help me out. We all talk for the other ones.
I say run to the objective as best as you can.
Run
if you're
or
a
dive
little
in the
faster,
water?
you can run. It's just that it can.
Could I tell how fast that thing was from the, like how much
not
movement
strictly,
he had?
but you take it that it was taking advantage of the gravity of the stairwell as it came down to move faster than it normally would have.
Okay. So, action to disengage, run away, and eat good berries. David,
It's hard to say. Hard to say.
You got two
He has such low HP right now already.
different-
I think.
I know,
maybe.
I have such-
I think
yeah.
maybe. It's just that it will definitely catch up to you again next turn. If it has a 30 speed, it still catches up to you next turn. Unless you have a way to get more than. Well, you have 40.
I have 40.
You have 40
Yeah.
now, so that's something.
But that still means that it can dash to catch up to you, for the record.
Yeah.
Because if it chooses to use all of its turn to move, then it can do that. And
We're banking on it
So-
having a standard 30 feet, and if it does, maybe you get out of here.
No, he'll dash towards me. And get
But then
to
it's
me.
just next to you. It isn't. Then you
That's
can
all it
repeat
has
the
to
turn.
be, though. Sometimes I feel like
Or
it just
take
has
the
to be
hit
next to
and
me
dash.
for me to take cold
but it won't
damage.
hit you. Oh, is that what it is?
I'm
It
a-
just has to
I
be
don't
next to
know.
it?
Oh,
I don't
your
know.
health is low though. You said.
Oh wait, how did it deal with damage?
Because I had to do a strength
Nick,
check.
roll an intelligence check for me.
I had to do a strength check, and then even though I passed the strength check,
At least 10 or higher.
I doubt it's 10 or higher. Let's see.
Let's see.
You said
I guess a
intelligence?
strength
Well, he has
check
good intelligence.
is probably to not be like enveloped
Yeah, 9.
inside the elemental.
Yeah, it's rough.
Is it a specific type of intelligence, maybe?
What'd you say, Manny? Sorry.
So I'm thinking
It
the
would
strength
probably be
check.
nature.
The
You don't have
strength
nature,
check
do you?
is to not be literally
Engulfed.
enveloped inside. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Inside the elemental for him to push you out, essentially.
Because honestly, my main idea, if I were to be able to go first, which did not happen, was to jump into the water and use that in some way. I'm not sure still. But now,
How much health do you have?
6, but I got 4 good berries. So,
So
10 and
one
even
shot
one more.
probably by
Yeah.
him.
Yeah, like I literally almost just died without even having a turn. So,
Yeah.
There has to be some kind of a fluke to this because it seems like it's too overpowered.
well, I can't see anything. I asked if I could, you
Wow,
know, if
the
there's anything to
mannequin's
see, and
And we can't see the mannequin on here too.
For the
now?
first time, the mannequin is talking.
Wow.
I'm gonna cut my losses.
There
I
you go,
guess
Peter.
the only thing to do is just run away, to
I think
disengage,
that's-
use
with
my
40 feet,
action to
that's not bad.
disengage,
That's not bad. As long as you
and then dash or run 40 feet.
chug
Okay.
your berries.
I'll say, so you can dash to run 80 feet and like be
No,
like
but
full
I have to
out,
disengage.
or you can
Getting hit.
disengage
Yeah,
and
I can't risk getting hit.
risk getting hit.
Yeah.
I can't.
Wait, so did it deal damage without attacking?
Yes. Well,
Or did it take that it's damage? Was it? Did you get dealt
Hold
damage
up.
twice or?
If I failed the strength check, I might have got damage dealt to me on top of the cold damage.
Based on
I passed the
the
strength check.
information,
It did
For
deal damage without
this
attacking,
bastion.
Yeah.
technically speaking.
Based on the information for this bastion, do you have to defeat the water elemental?
I don't think so. I think it's the exact opposite. I think the point is to not attack it, to evade it, because it said know when to run, know when to attack, embrace the cold or something like that, which no way to
Well,
embrace
he's
it.
water.
I thought being a cold-blooded animal would be
Hold
enough,
up,
but
he's-
apparently not.
So he's water, and what happens when water touches ice?
Freezes. Okay. Okay. What are you thinking?
Freezes. So perhaps he is impacted by the environment, so you can go. Maybe you can make him get on the ice, and it slows his movement down or stops him for a time, for you to be able to get around.
Okay, would I know this? Would obviously I wouldn't have, because he left me a note. When Cleave was brushed away, was it through these trails, or did it go straight into the water?
It was through the lower trail. You guys did get to talk about it the night prior.
Okay,
Still,
so he didn't
Regardless.
actually go into the water at all?
no.
The elemental? Do I go in the water or do I run? The water's gonna be cold and it's gonna kill me, so I have to run.
Well, if it's
I know
if
you
it's-
don't care because you want me to fail.
no, I don't. I really don't.
The question is how
Calagon Dör
Spars
are definitely
help.
gonna die.
Can you ready a bonus
Technically,
action?
I could go lightning and I could
Can he ready a
dash,
bonus
but-
action?
Ready a bonus action?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Huh?
for sure.
My
Can
bonus
he-
action's gonna be eating
Can he
the...
just run away, and then just like pop the good berries if he gets attacked?
Tristan,
Yeah,
can
it
you
would
go
be no
over-
different from
can-
just
can-
doing that already, though. Really.
It would
Can
be
you go
very
over the
different
final
because that
part?
is an attack of opportunity move.
Can you
If
go
he
over the
gets
final
jumped
part of the
with-
wording of the bastion again?
Of the entirety of the bastion,
No,
or
just the
within
final
this?
part. Like, how does he beat it?
So, just at the water's plaque here. Sorry, hold on, wrong plaque there. As a guardian, you must learn when to ride the currents and when to carve your own course. Know when to fight, when to freeze, and when to force your way forward toward your purpose.
Make your
Ride
own
the
course.
currents.
So this is what I'm saying. If he could use his bonus action and reaction for the round in order to eat the good berries when this makes an attack of opportunity against him, then he would be free to use his action to dash.
Even if
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
The
That
good
makes sense.
berries-
You let him do that?
Yeah, for sure.
the good
Bro.
berries won't survive enough, even if I ate all of them, I won't survive
No,
another
but
hit.
if you get damage dealt to you and then eat a good berry, you'll at least have like an HP.
Yeah.
And then you just run. You just run your 80 feet.
Let's say if it would drop him to 0, it would still drop him to 0 most of the time.
well, then that's just
so
eating good
that's what I'm
berries
saying.
before
That's
then.
why I said
Okay.
it would really be no different. I think for like a self revive type option, that would be much trickier. It would have to be like a very specific instance.
Okay.
Do you,
Like it's trying to actively drown him. In the case that it's actively drowning him, I guess technically he would have to swallow whatever water and whatever's in him. So like, yeah,
Do you-
there's a way in which it could work.
do you have anything in your inventory that would have some kind of an impact on water? Do you have any liquid that would thus in ways infect the water if it were to be mixed with it? Some kind of poison?
We're not all Rodrick here.
You had like
He's got
22
inventory.
Rodrick and
potions.
his 32
functions.
vials.
No.
All right. This is what I think. I think
Okay.
you're kind of taking a coin toss no matter what. It's going to
Yeah.
roll at some point to get you, and I think if you wait one turn,
Should've
it
dropped the
basically gets you
potion of
regardless.
shrinking.
Yeah.
So your only shot here is just letting it roll now and make your full dash. Because if you can run your 80, it's done. It's not going to catch up to you. If you can run your 80.
Yeah, I think the best move is kind of like what he's saying. Evade it so that you can check out all parts, because Cleave didn't even get to go past the middle piece. And it looks here like maybe the top part might be somewhere you need to get to.
Yeah.
That island across on the right, is it even attainable? I don't even know if you can get there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the top part looks like, is that a doorway all the way at the top in the northernmost part?
There doesn't seem to be a direct doorway necessarily currently.
But there's a door there.
I got no choice. I think we should I think Joel's right.
I think you need to run and explore. So just stay out of that thing's way.
But the issue right now is that I have to disengage and run or dash and possibly get hit while disengaging. That's the problem.
What's your AC?
It's 12.
Oh, so you're gonna get hit.
I do have
This
shield
thing
as
rolled
a
a
bonus
24 a
action,
second ago,
so that
but-
adds,
Okay.
something.
It's a reaction. It's a reaction.
That's it's a reaction.
Yeah, then don't waste your reaction at all. Yeah, just eat some good berries and run. I think that's the move.
Wait, is shield a spell slot?
It's a reaction. Yeah.
But it's a reaction spell slot or just a
And I get. Oh, actually. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, smart.
Yeah. Okay. I just realized
Forgot about
something
that, yeah.
that I forgot about, which is crazy.
Yeah, it's a big feature now. Let's see if there's...
Is it?
Is there a Calagon secret here, or like a new
Is there
D&D
a
secret?
level 3 Calagon secret?
He definitely has something
Not
now
a
that
secret,
would be
but
pretty
should I have
hefty that
used
would-
my reaction then to, even though I would definitely not, I would still get hit, but at least
It
I would
wouldn't
have.
be any different than using it next.
Well, it would already be here
Right.
if
but
I
that
used it
wouldn't-
previously.
That wouldn't necessarily... Because, I mean, it still
Because it
goes into your
doesn't
total
work,
pool.
does it? So like, if I were to use it and then get hit, would it?
You now just get that much additional just like you would have at the start. So if it's going to
Okay,
be able to
so it
take all
doesn't-
that down, then yeah.
So it can show up and be effective in the
Oh, yeah,
same.
yeah.
Okay, I didn't know. I thought it had to be there and then be effective.
No.
If you know what I'm talking about. Okay. Okay, then yeah, I'm gonna. I'm gonna.
Let's see. I think I have an
you
idea.
guys already know
but
what it is.
Let's see.
It's a arcane ward, but every time I do a abjuration spell, a ward appears, which is 8 hit points. Anyway, so
Like a
yes,
shield,
I'm gonna.
right?
So he can buff his AC and his health now.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay, that's
but
huge.
it's still only temporary.
Super helpful.
Still,
That thing makes you way
everything is
tankier.
temporary right now.
Yeah.
Your life is
Yeah, it's
temporary at the
way
moment.
tankier.
Okay, so the question is disengage or roll the die and try to dash.
I think that's the move. You run, man.
Yeah. Okay.
What? Are you running it?
Yep.
I think he should dash.
Yeah.
I totally
I
think.
think
This thing
that-
has
But you
the
gotta buff
heftiest-
yourself, bro.
It has a big plus, but
Buff
it,
yourself. Buff yourself first.
Let's see it.
I would say.
so he'll use shield regardless, basically, unless it totally misses.
Yeah, but even okay.
But did you have your good berries first?
I think I am gonna disengage. I think that makes sense because, again, even if I shield, even if I use arcane, I'll last a hit. But as you said, if I have 40 movement and I can only move 30,
But it can dash 60 and it still deals damage.
but as he said, it helped. Gravity helped him move down the stairs. If I'm going up the stairs,
Yeah.
I'm just trying to use context clues
Yeah.
a little bit.
Yeah. I think the fact that you discovered you have that other ability to stack with shield is huge. I think if you gain your 4 HP, you use shield, you gain additional temporary HP. That will be enough for you to step away from it. If you step away from it successfully, you win. You just have to like book it.
But what if I get up there and I have to go past it again? I would like
Why would
to.
you have to go past it again?
I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen when I get up to that top level. If I have to go past it again, I'm going to need to use that. So should I gamble now, try to get as far as I can away, and hopefully get there? And if it does come to me, then do all of that anyway.
That could happen.
You know
I
what
think
I
the
mean?
most likely scenario is you just have to get to the top. You just have to get to the top.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. And if you can move 80 feet towards the top, that's huge.
What do you think, Tristan? It's your
I'm
opinion.
excited to see what happens here. But that it is unfortunately still your turn.
Let's
so
do. I think disengage is what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna run the 40 feet up as far as I can go. And if it does catch up to me and try to attack me, then I will use all those things.
Okay.
And yeah. So disengage as an action. Use my movement 40 feet to get away.
Okay. Then as you sprint up these stairs, it does take a lot more out of you climbing these taller stairs. And so your full 40 doesn't quite go as far as it normally would.
Oh no. Okay.
Again, gravity working against you with these stairs now.
Against me.
Okay.
I'm not water.
But that is your action and movement. Do you have any bonus action that you'd like to use?
Yeah, I'm gonna eat the good berries, I guess, as well.
Alright,
Wait.
easy enough.
Did he dash?
No, I
He
disengaged,
disengaged.
and I tried to run 40 feet, which apparently I couldn't.
You got like almost 30.
No way.
Yep.
That's Tristan cheating. Whoever said stairs are
sure.
difficult terrain.
Right.
Not D&D.
Okay. Well then with that...
Ice would be though.
What's that?
I said ice would be though.
Yep.
Yeah.
These are all icy stairs and everything.
You didn't say that when I asked what it looked like.
I did specifically note that the platform you were on was largely made of ice. And that everything around you is also a berg. But, that being
I
said,
thought that was like a
Touche,
fancy
touche.
word for stone.
you do recognize that upon getting to the top of the stairs, once you start moving, you do start sliding. And that's where it gets just a little bit more difficult.
You're about to fall prone, bro.
I'm glad it's getting more difficult. That makes me happy. So excited.
I'll leave it at that for the time being. But you recognize that it is hard to traverse these platforms,
Okay.
and that you lucked out essentially in that you were going a singular direction. You now know that if you were to try to turn around something, there's a very good chance you're not going to be able to control yourself.
Gotcha.
Not well, at least.
Okay.
With that, unfortunately, it is going to take the dash action,
Nice.
and it's going to attempt to overwhelm.
We chose the
Sweet.
wrong, trials again. He
but-
should have done ether.
That's for you now to make your
You should've
strength
done
saving
her.
throw.
Yay.
I should
Yeah,
have
the
done
strength
water.
saving throws have been all coming your
Teleporting
way.
as a lightning bolt would have been
4.
so easy, bro.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then you are going to take... I'll tell you what. David, am I rolling or am I taking the average?
Oh. What? On the strength?
No, this is for the damage.
For the damage? What are you at, HP wise?
I'm at 10, and I might have a ward with 8.
What are you rolling? What dice?
Can't tell you. Just pick one, quick. Am I rolling for it or am I taking the average?
Average.
Okay. Then you, Nick, take 13 points of bludgeoning damage.
So I'm going to use shield as a reaction.
Fantastic. You can absolutely do that still.
The
And then that-
average is 13?
And that creates Arcane Ward. And that also kills the Arcane Ward.
Absolutely does.
12, 13, and that's 5
As
more points.
barrier
It
Barriers
starts
to
to
me.
overwhelm you. You push back some of the water and kind of enlarge this creature's size for a moment as it starts collapsing back on you. The pressure of its body forming back together to slowly crush and compact that shield away from you. And kind of taking a portion of it, you recognize that that could have been far, far worse
Cool.
for you.
Cool.
Luckily,
So-
it did have to. It had to dash to get to you.
Mm-hmm. Now I have to disengage to get away from it again.
But you are currently grappled.
Oh, okay.
So, to be clear, your speed is 0, and you can't benefit from any bonuses to speed, including from Longstrider.
No.
You can attempt to break the grapple yourself, specifically taking an action to do so, unless you have, some other form of escape.
I'm grappled because I'm inside of him?
Correct.
Hmm. Well, since I'm inside of him, I'm assuming I can't breathe.
You are actually back at the center platform, though. Go ahead and make a perception check for me. You made it this far. Let's see my DCs.
That's gonna be a 10.
Perfect.
Alright.
There are inscribed along the lower archway around the door to the south the words that say sorry, forgive me, exit at your own risk, stay at your own risk. And above you, you can see there is a large stone archway that almost resembles a doorway, that you can tell that there is a stone backing to it. And instead, there's a large, thick slab of ice. Carved into this ice is the image of a large, fantastical creature that almost appears to be crawling downward and breathing out a speckled flurry on what looks to be a water elemental.
Huh.
So, to the south.
Awaken the creature.
Is it like another water elemental? That
No. To the
okay.
south is just a doorway with the words.
Okay. You
And
said he's
to the-
breathing a flurry of what?
So yeah, that's at the north point. There's on that back wall a very, very large archway with this like carved, almost mural-like sculpture of. It basically looks, for lack of a better word, like a massive salamander. In fact, go ahead and make, for me, a nature check.
Because this is the trial after fire. That's why.
Shit.
Could have used
I don't
your
know why I play this
salamander
game
mask.
sometimes. 7.
The dice not in your favor today, huh?
Are they ever?
Okay.
7.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's hard to make out past that. But yeah, it looks like it's just like a large, like, lizard-type creature. Kind of a broader, kind of rounder, robust lizard. Crawling down and breathing onto this elemental as it's now just kind of... you can tell that it looks fierce, aggressive, downward at it, shooting off this flurry from its breath.
A real... this is just like a picture. Like
It's
an
just
image.
carved into ice.
Carved into it.
Yeah, so it's really like through the refracting light that you're able to make out what it is.
What's up, guys? So, I think... oh, man. I don't know if you guys are going to like this very much. The thing says know when to fight, know when to not, right?
Have you tried swimming out of it?
I don't know if I want to fight anymore.
You're gonna
Are you
give
just
in,
gonna get out?
but it's gonna drown you.
You would know that when this happened to Cleave, it was the next step was him getting lobbed out of here.
So I wouldn't die, it would just be him tossing me out of here.
Most likely.
If I did nothing. But he was fighting the whole time.
It's true.
So it's like quicksand. The more you fight, maybe the more you...
Actually,
the more it attacks you and stuff.
certainly an option.
I mean, I'm really like... I'm drowning. Well,
Is that the only damage that it's causing? Is just him not being able to breathe?
cold and bludgeoning.
Yeah.
I know he had gotten bludgeoning before, but currently in the active state of him being engulfed by it.
It's just being crushed by its form, essentially.
Okay. Okay.
This might be where Calagon.
I mean,
So
it
you guys
is.
have had
it
a
is
few good
water.
ideas thus far, so
It is water. Just try to swim upwards to catch a breath at least. I don't know. How big is the elemental?
how big is the elemental?
Yeah.
I'm just.
It's about 10 feet around. So
10 feet. Up
So it's-
and to the sides.
still a good. It's like if he had to swim out of it, it's like he has an entire person stretched out across beside him still. So there's like 5 feet almost. Either way.
think Joel. I'm dead. All right.
I think maybe at this point you're right.
To just. You're right. So, as I'm assumingly on my back, looking up through water, seeing all of this stuff, I am going to use my change form. Gonna alter self into my aquatic thing so I could breathe in the water, but I'm not going to do anything. I'm just gonna.
Oh man.
When you say change form, what does that mean?
So I have this spell. It's after alter self. I can change my appearance in multiple different ways, but one of them is an aquatic adaptation. So I'll get gills and I'll get webs in my fingers, and I can breathe underwater.
Okay.
And I could swim at a 30 feet.
Question for Tristan.
Now 40.
Yeah, what you
Now
got?
40.
He is adapting to water. Is he fully adapting to water?
In-
It says aquatic adaptation, so
So he would
I'm
just
assuming
be able to
cold.
like swim and breathe,
well,
but
because
it's
for
not
example,
necessarily
you
the
breathe
cold
in-
aspect.
If he gets
Air,
the
though?
properties, of a fish are not impacted with the same level of G forces as we are when they're swimming below the water. That's
Unfortunately,
would probably
that
make his
varies on the
bludgeoning
fish.
damage less.
They're like ants of the water, you know?
Ah, this
Call
is
back
true.
to
This is
last
a great
episode.
point. This is a great point.
That's why we can swim 100 feet and it's going to be bad. Now, don't get me wrong; they're not impervious to it. If you bring a fish up from depths too fast, they do get compression sickness, and their swim bladder actually
He's trying
explodes
to
out of the mouth.
explode you in a whole different other kind of way. This is great.
But
No, it's just as simple as whatever's written in the
Yeah,
the stats.
and that's not written there. So, Cleave, when he was getting dragged out, did he mention that he was getting hurt at all?
Oh,
Maybe.
I'd imagine so. Yeah,
Was it painful being dragged out by the elemental?
yeah, it would have been still.
It would have been painful.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well then, I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna, and then I
I'm
guess
just gonna.
I'm gonna just change to where I can breathe and swim, and then just try to get up maybe as a bonus action or
I mean,
something.
you're still
I don't-
upright. You're just kind of floating in the
Okay.
center of this thing.
Well then,
So, nothing else for you?
do I not move or do I try to get out of it? Try to swim
Well-
out of it.
well, you got to get
You
out of it
have to
because
do-
it's giving
use
you.
an action to get out of it.
Yeah, it's.
well, my movement. Well,
If
I
it
am
was-
grappled, so I guess.
You are grappled, so you don't technically have
Yeah,
movement.
if it was just that you couldn't breathe, it would be one thing. But you're getting progressive bludgeoning damage from the creature, so you have to get out because you're
If
gonna
he
die.
has a swim speed, is he able to negate the grappling effect by just swimming?
No, he literally cannot gain a swim speed because of the grappled condition.
Nice.
Yep. So I am going to alter self, give myself some gills, and just stare and let it take me.
Nice. Okay.
What
So
spells
it
do you
does. As it now starts
used one.
cascading forward and down these stairs, you watch as it now kind of follows along this icy path, and it starts climbing you back up towards this next platform. And that is its turn.
Taking me towards the exit, huh?
Yeah, he is.
You gotta get out. There has to be a way.
Just
you have-
like, flying fish your way
That's, I mean,
out of him and fall into the river.
Do you
as
have,
I'm
do you have
getting
any
dragged
sticks
in the
left?
sadness,
Do you have any slots left?
Yeah, I got plenty of spell slots left. Nothing that's gonna help me.
Can you say your spells?
Oops. Magic missile, shield, alter self, mold earth, firebolt, control flames,
Mold Earth. What is the terrain around him?
ice.
Almost all ice.
Ice and
There
stone.
is some amount of like stonework surrounding these platforms.
Gonna earth bend.
Well, now that I'm
A
on
wall.
that
It is hard stone though, so it's
other
tough.
platform, I guess I had a moment of just letting go. Now I'm gonna have the moment of just all my power, just trying to get out of there. So I guess my action is gonna be trying to get the heck
Why
out
don't you
of this.
magic missile yourself?
okay.
How? What does that even mean?
Well, magic missile your way out of him.
How?
What kind of damage is magic missile? Is it force damage or fire
It's
damage?
force.
It is force,
Force?
yeah.
Okay, name your other spells.
David.
David's really
That's all
trying
right.
to think.
If
The
you
mannequin's
decide on your
really trying to
action,
think,
you're
'cause
set.
David's not on
That's all
camera.
right.
It's control flames, firebolt, mold earth, magic missile. I also have dragon with the fire, the breath.
Dragon's breath with
Yeah.
force.
Wait,
Just
that's
out of the water.
try using
Would
force.
that work? A force?
I mean, you've never
In
tried
the-
it.
Well, it might-
specifically,
it-
but
it
yours
might at
also
least-
doesn't really have knockback.
The least it could do, it might not have knockback, but it might create some space in front of you for you to breathe for a
So
second.
should my action
he can
be
breathe
creating?
now.
He can breathe now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Off
that's
yourself.
true.
So,
That's
yeah,
true.
you're good. Do whatever.
I'm gonna
you're
try to
doing.
get out.
You're just trying to get out. All right, cool.
Yep,
Yeah,
try to
roll,
get up
roll
and
a
out.
strength check.
Strength check. Strength check. Come on, guys. Come on.
No.
Calagon's the
Strength check.
strongest.
Strength
Calagon's
check.
the strongest. Has
Strength
faith, Joel.
check. Strength check. Strength
I
check.
genuinely think the right move is to not fight it because it's just gonna hit him back, and then that's that for Calagon. I think
Yeah.
the right move
Nat
is just
20.
to let it take him
Whoa!
out.
It's right there.
He's just gonna jump in
So
the river.
19.
I think that's the move. That's the call. Is jump in the
Okay.
river. Jump in the lake.
Yeah,
That'll
you
do
are
damage
not
to you.
on the platform currently. You can try
Yeah.
to climb up and grab hold of the stone at the ledge. Otherwise, you're going
No,
to be
this
on
is-
a slick
Well,
ice
I'm
path.
definitely taking.
Would
a
you
rest
like to
if I
try
have
to
come in
climb
here.
up, or are you
I have
just
one
going to
health.
take the plummet?
I'm gonna
You should go into the water.
going into the water.
Going into the water. Okay, cool. Then that will move you before you even move, sliding you down and into the water, which does immediately begin to
Kill me.
freeze, dealing 2 points of cold damage.
Ah. Cool.
And you recognize that it is not fun being in this water,
Gotcha.
and that it could have been worse, but
Mhm.
luckily hasn't done too much harm to you just yet.
Okay. Huh. That's gonna be an every round thing, isn't it?
You still have your movement and bonus action.
Yeah, I'm gonna use all that. Should I swim towards the island platform or north to the big platform that I try to get to?
Oh, you're in the water?
Yeah,
I'm
I
in the
think
water.
I
I was still
say
reading.
I say, can he make it to the platform
To the which one?
with his 30 swimming speed? The island.
He has a
40.
40 swim
40
speed
swimming
currently.
And then dash too. So is that
Oh,
80?
you haven't
If
done
you
your
wanted to
action?
dash, you could. Oh no, he did do his action
What do you mean?
Yeah.
You escaped
because
the-
you're
you escaped as an
escaping the
action.
grapple was
Oh.
an action.
Gotcha.
So you could still currently make it to this first platform, at least the outskirts,
To get out of the water at least.
to get out of
Yeah.
the water.
I would say go
But-
to the island. It might take him some movement to try and get there.
Yeah, you could for sure get up there.
When the elemental took me to that area, did he go over the water or did he go over the stone?
Over that like ice bridge formation.
I'm gonna go to the island
Okay.
if I can make it there.
Cool.
Remember, forge your own path. Ride the currents, right? Let's do it.
Okay. So
where
it
where
takes
does the
you-
water seem to be going towards?
There doesn't seem to be
There is no current
any
to ride?
direct actual current
Gotcha.
itself.
No current to ride.
So,
yeah,
it
the
takes
island.
about 20 feet just to reach this little platform, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
It would be, let's see, 10, 20 feet additional to get up to this like lower level of the platform before the actual stonework, which is going to be a little bit more to climb over, but you are able to get up out of the water. And so
Yay.
you have a bonus action if you'd like to use it.
bonus action. Do I want to use a bonus action? I don't have anything to do. So,
Cool. No need. It's just a nice little touch if you need
my
to.
bonus action is going to be because it's cold. Cool. Does that warm me up? Do I get no?
Unfortunately, not quite. As you now do, however, get a front row seat to this elemental flowing all the way back to where it was and kind of moving towards you. You can see where it kind of halts at this ledge.
Bro.
And it starts just flowing and just watching you.
He
from where
doesn't
it's
get
at.
in the river or in the lake. He doesn't get in the lake. If
So
you can
I'm
somehow forge a
safe.
path up to the upper platform through the outskirts,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yep.
Are you able to heal yourself right now? Do you have anything? A health
No.
potion?
No. Nope.
Does that, what's it called? That little temporary hit point thing, the ward, is that just once?
Yeah, that's gone.
Once every long rest. So what I'm gonna do is
Well, just take a long rest here. He can't cross over.
He'll die. He's getting cold damage.
just being in here. I'm
It's
getting
not a
cold
place
damage?
where
Oh,
you
'cause
can physically rest, just being that it is
Yeah.
freezing cold and he's not necessarily prepped for it.
He is on that.
I'm
on
gonna
that
go
side
to the edge of this
island.
here.
Yeah.
What do these rocks look like? How do these
Okay.
like that? Is it just
So you're on the outside. It would take a little bit of climbing to get over that wall, so it's gonna, you know, just take a little bit out of you, but it's not horrible.
if my idea right now is to cast Firebolt to make the ice, to melt the ice to where it's easier to get up.
Okay.
So instead of it being like super rough or not accessible, I'd like to Firebolt to maybe make like an easier to forge my own path, you know?
Okay. So yeah, there are some like flatter grounds here where you can tell that it does platform off, especially at the lower levels.
Mhm.
Directly below you, it's a little bit slicker where it's a little steep that like
Or
you can't
even-
just like hop down.
Even knocking ice to where it kind of connects. Well, no, because then he'll start coming towards me. I think that's my plan, though. I want to get it to where I'm going to hit an iceberg that will create it to make like a bridge, and then I want to dash to the other side. Do you know what I mean?
Fun.
You guys understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get it. I'm waiting to see if Tristan says you can do it.
If it's a thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you want to give that a shot?
I'm gonna try to hit an iceberg, have it fall to where it creates a bridge of some sort, and then I want to dash to the
Cool. Yeah.
the
Roll
north
to hit
area.
and with what?
uh.
This one here is fairly
You know
large.
what? Since I'm not doing the whole melting thing, I'll do magic missile. So that should hit exactly where I want it, and I have three missiles to do that.
Absolutely.
So level 1.
And go ahead and roll damage on that.
Oh. Was it 3? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
9 points of damage. Cool. Just chipping away. It's not necessarily enough to like full break through, but it is enough to cut about halfway through. And luckily, that's perfect for its own weight starting to crumble beneath it and starting to collapse this off this peak where it's currently at. And so, slowly but surely, you do watch as it starts chipping away and cracking and splashing down into the ice. It is shifting lightly back and forth, but it's not moving so much. That being said, as a foothold, it does look very shifty as it is, given that it's largely rounded and entirely ice.
Is the water elemental making his way north as well, seeing me do this, or is he just staring at me still?
Staring at you currently.
Okay. So does it look so unstable that I should attempt to reinforce it more with more, do it again, or I guess that'd be my
there's
choice
really
to
not
make
much left in
yeah.
terms of berg around here, of like that
Okay.
iceberg base, but
and it's okay. And I want to make it to where it's like straight, where I don't have to do any maneuvering.
Yeah, I mean, you can
So,
slowly
this is
melt
good.
away
Okay.
at it if you'd like and try and make it a little bit easier to manage. But
Okay.
you know that getting your weight onto ice while it's in the water is going to shift like crazy.
Yeah.
But you would at least be able to make it less round so it doesn't like spin while you're in the water.
Okay.
Or do that.
That's gonna be Calagon.
All right. Well, I'm going to attempt to.
Carve the ice, man.
I'm gonna just work on that piece of ice until I feel comfortable enough going across it.
Okay. Make an Arcana check because of the nature of how this is going down.
Not great at all. Not great. 7.
7. Okay.
I have a +4.
Rolls,
It's
bro.
a 3.
Yeah,
I thought it
honestly.
was an 8.
It's not ideal, obviously, and you recognize that this is much harder to get away with kind of flattening something that's permanently shifting somewhat, and you're
Yeah.
not there to hold it down. And you recognize that the more you chip away at it, if you continue on in this way, it's not going to be usable anymore.
Gotcha.
So it does flatten out to some extent, but it's mostly jagged chips here and there.
All right. Well, I'm gonna just try to. I'm not gonna try to run on it. I'm gonna try to slide. When I hit it, slide to the other area. So it's not like I'm not trying to run. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So I'm just gonna use the momentum to slide on
Yeah,
it and then
very,
get to the other area.
What's that show where... Oh, Wipeout. Yeah, very Wipeout of you.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Just making sure to
Just
try
get
to get
across
past
the
before it
Wipeout.
just decimates.
It's before.
Yeah, alright, well then, hopping down here, having kind of carved out a little bit of a path for yourself, prep yourself. That's going to be an acrobatics check.
Ooh, let's go.
All right, acrobatics. That is going to be
It's going to be moderately hard.
15.
That is the exact DC that I had in mind.
Whoa, baby.
Okay, it's not over yet, guys.
Okay, we're moving.
Come on.
Still,
right.
we're making progress
Takes
here.
up
No, he's
a
saying
good
yeah,
portion.
good is not over yet. We didn't lose.
Yeah,
Takes up a good
exactly.
portion of your movement, though, to get down there and back up to the point where your full 40 does only get you back up to this lower platform, where you can see now that this water elemental starts to shift.
Oh,
And knowing that he dashed before, how far he dashed, I know exactly how far he would pretty much be able to make it to on his turn.
Ooh, make either a
Assuming that we're going up a
make
staircase
an
again.
intelligence-based perception check for me.
What does
So-
that even mean?
So if you are, if you have perception, if you're proficient in perception, you can use proficiency, and this is going to otherwise use your intelligence modifier.
I'm not proficient.
Okay, so then
So
it's
just
just
add
going to
your-
be an
just
intelligence
check.
check.
9.
It's been fairly quick so far. So then, as you're doing all that, you'll get to see a pretty standard set of where it's gone for this turn, as it does now start to crash over at the
Wait,
edge towards.
Didn't I have
wait,
a
hold
bonus?
on.
Wait, hold on. I only moved 4 feet.
What's that?
Oh wait, no. Okay, yeah, I got you. Sorry.
Well,
no, you're good.
No, I was gonna say because it was sitting there just waiting for him while he was carving all this stuff, right? As long as he didn't
In
move
part.
forward, it doesn't move, right?
Well, he moved forward.
So can he dash?
But yeah, I wouldn't have moved forward until it was like a new turn.
That's what I'm getting at. Yeah.
Oh, I mean,
You
yeah,
know what
you
I
could
mean?
use.
So then I would have used 40 to
Additional
get
if you
there,
like.
but I have another 40,
yeah,
right?
by all means.
And I have an action, right? and
Well,
stuff?
the
That's
action,
the
if
action.
you're
Oh,
gonna
okay.
dash, the dash would be the action.
Yeah. Okay. Now I know where it's gonna go.
depending on where you move.
But no, you just gotta go, man.
Depending on where you move.
That's the whole deal. It's a race.
Yeah, but even if I dash, I can't get to that circle, can I?
Starting to move.
Yeah, go. I'm going to that circle
Hurry.
as much as I can.
Just go one way,
Unfortunately,
so at least it comes around.
Joel, despite the fact that it is his turn, it is still a held action for it to
Okay, then I'm
just
gonna go back to the.
take its run as he starts climbing over this way. You can see where now it starts to meet you off at this ledge.
I'm gonna go back then.
And as you back up, are you looking to cut all the way across back to the other island?
Yeah.
This is still a good, like, let me see here. 15.
I have an idea.
This is probably still about 10 feet over where you're at right now, up this wall.
Yeah, he's water. All he has to do is.
I have an
But
idea.
he won't go down, I guess, though, huh? What?
Is there a way that you can lob off a piece of ice from the surrounding ice and throw it at it to see what impact having ice inside, because it's clearly staying away from the cold water. So force it to get cold.
I have another thought. Did it go slower going up the stairs?
Yeah.
Okay. I was hoping that it maybe wouldn't be this far up, but it is.
I mean, I hate to keep dragging this along, but I wanted to
That's what
get
you
to
have
that
do.
island.
Keep dragging it along. Like it. You gotta keep like, you gotta play like play tag here.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go back, and
It's like playing chess.
seeing
Just
it come
playing
up,
chess
I'm gonna
to try
go
to
back.
get to the king.
You're going to try and go back where specifically?
Back to the island, yeah.
Back to the island? Okay, that will require another acrobatics check to get across.
Has the water been hurting him?
What's that?
Has the water been hurting him?
I didn't go in
He
the water.
didn't go in the water.
Oh, you haven't
No.
gone in the water. That's
Just that
okay.
But
First
yes,
time,
the water
and it
hurt
did
him
hurt him.
previously,
Oh,
for sure.
it hurt him the first time, yeah.
Dang.
It
Yeah,
hurt him
too.
a decent amount, I'll say.
Okay. Man.
So, it's, as simple as fail the acrobatics check, fall in the water.
Yeah, die. All right. No, I'm just going to. I'm gonna. I don't know what to do, guys. I already tried to let it kill me, and I'm back here now. So
Letting it kill
Maybe
you,
just take
not
a
the
few
best
steps
idea.
back onto the iceberg thing. You stay on that, and if
Yeah.
it jumps on, it gets
That's
moving.
what
It
I'm
doesn't
gonna-
want to go there.
just gonna stay.
That gives
Just
you
go
a
a
chance
couple
to
steps
dash
back.
Okay.
What does it seem like his...
Take a few steps back,
Yeah.
and then as you watch now this water elemental, you can see where it starts to crash over the ledge here lightly as it now collides into this wall. And it is large. It's large enough so that you can see now its form. From the stairs you can see it much better, but here you just see the kind of light lopping of waves over top, cresting over the wall as it's almost like hitting into it, possibly trying to climb, possibly just kind of analyzing for a brief moment, and then it runs back over towards the stairwell.
How long
where
would it take me to
watches
climb
you.
up that wall in front of me?
It
You said
depends
it's 15
on-
feet. Does the ice get
It's
taller
about
as you get up to
10
the corner?
feet from like the platform up here.
Gotcha.
So you are slightly lower now, but yeah, it's about 10 feet.
As you go
from
more
there.
north, does it get higher up, or is it all 10 feet?
It's all about the same from
Okay.
where you're at currently, unless you were to get to one of the peaks of the ice, but that would be near impossible.
Yeah. Okay, so I saw it go down, and it's just watching me from there.
That it is.
I guess I'm gonna take a piece of ice and throw it at it.
Nice, yeah, for sure.
See what happens, David.
Let's see.
Just gonna take a piece of ice and use a spear.
It does take you moving forward quite a bit to kind of get within range to be able to hit it. But otherwise, go ahead and roll to attack.
18.
18.
Wait. No, sorry,
wouldn't be
16.
proficient in
16.
this.
Sorry.
Okay.
I don't know what I'm thinking.
Cool. Then yeah, that hits. As you now just lob this massive ice crystal its way, you watch as it kind of like squishes downward as though to kind of avoid it almost instinctively in part. But instead taking it straight to the dome. Go ahead and roll a D8 for me.
D8. As I chuck it and be like, I hate water! See, D8? That's a D10. Where's the 8? I could never find an 8. Do I have an 8? Oh, this one? Oh yeah, duh. 3.
3 points of cold damage. Okay. Sweet. As it now hits it, you can see as it kind of like almost winces, if you will, and as it peels back for a moment, you can tell that there's these little crystals forming at its base that it now just kind of pulls away from as it now starts to freeze towards its lower extremities, and pulling away, it actually starts walking, like kind of shifting down the stairs a little bit, leaving behind a small frozen chunk where it was.
Interesting. Okay, game plan. Those stairs. It's right next to ice.
Yeah?
I'm gonna try to magic missile again the ice so it shoots at him. So I'm gonna hit the ice to fall into him,
So
but
like
also
the higher like ice.
yeah, so it'll
there.
break into him. And I'm gonna use the level 1 magic missile.
Okay.
For
It is
that.
magic missile. Yeah, it's very direct, and you did get a good taste of like what that means. So yeah, roll for damage.
All right. Always 9.
9. Okay, cool. Crashing in, it is exactly as it was previously, and smashing into one of these kind of frozen icicles. You start chipping away at it, and you watch now as it topples over to it. I am going to say, because yours is an auto hit, but you're hitting something else, I'm going to give it a save on this, which it does terribly at. And instead takes an iceberg to the face. A small iceberg, which does a shocking amount of damage to it. As you can see now that it just continues getting beat down, and it's freezing over, and you can see where it's now just pulling chunks of itself away, probably less than half the size it just was a moment ago, as it's freezing over and slowly moving bit by bit further away and then back up to try to get closer to you without necessarily moving towards you.
Okay, I'm gonna try to, since I am safe over here, I'm gonna try to fire bolt the structure of which it's on to make it fall into the ice in front of it.
First roll to hit still.
Yep.
Let's go, Calagon.
And it is. Ooh, or maybe. Yeah, okay. Gosh.
I should have had this so deep.
7.
I
7.
already knew that, but
Okay.
I really know it now.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, there's a AC for like what is
Wait, do you have inspiration?
breakable, so that unfortunately is still on the low end of that. So as you start chipping away, it's not that you're not able to do anything, it's that more so that it's spreading too heavily in the general area, so that it doesn't seem to necessarily be breaking away at any one point that you can tell at this moment just yet.
Okay.
Do you have anything
Does
else?
it look like the structure is possible? Like, does it look like my idea
You
is
can tell
possible?
it's sweating. Like, yeah, the ice below it is sweating a little bit, so it's definitely possible.
But like the stone itself, does the
So-
stone look brittle enough to break away?
The stone itself is a little bit heftier, but still resting on the ice.
Okay. So yeah, that's then I'm gonna go again.
Cool. Yeah,
do
the
it.
elemental on its turn is going to just go back and forth, very menacingly, and otherwise it's just going to take the dodge action. So you're up.
There we go. 19 to hit
19
on
hits.
Firebolt. Same idea.
Cool. Yeah. Roll damage.
What is damage on that? I haven't done one of these in a while. 6.
6. Okay. 6 points of damage. This fireball, clearly, you've shot this off plenty of times at this point, and you recognize its typical effects. And it's so satisfying to watch now, where that effect seems to be so much greater against this ice. As now, after kind of warming it with the first shot, you go and you hit into it, and it kind of cracks portions of it. And you see now, as there's still the aftermath of not only the initial impact, but it doubles down. As you can see, it still starts to melt from within, collapsing more and more of the structure, eventually collapsing the stonework above it. And with a 5 on its dexterity saving throw, dropping the water elemental directly into these spiked icicles.
Bro!
And freezing it perfectly in form as though reaching out to move towards you.
What?
One more firebolt to blast it apart, if I could do that.
Absolutely. And
Actually, let's magic missile that thing just so I
Even
can
better.
so I can make sure I hit it. And, do I need to roll damage or is it just
not
gonna,
at all.
Okay,
No,
yeah.
with the snap of your fingers, you watch as this. You just hear the crackling as it now almost comes up from inside and explodes from underneath, and shattering this elemental to pieces.
I hope there's not another one. So I'm gonna try to scale that wall now that it's gone.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I've realized over my time here, Tristan leaves a lot of room for creativity, which is why Rodrick seems to get out of situations.
Yes. Absolutely. So yeah,
can't
I will make
believe
that
that.
announcement briefly again towards everybody. I remember initially people were talking about doing like acrobatic stuff, like climbing off a wall and jumping down. I will say that there is always a higher risk, but also much higher reward to whatever creative additions you choose to throw in there.
Yeah, that was dope, bro.
So that, yeah, absolutely incredible. You pointed out yourself, like, yes, you are opening up pathways for it to potentially get to you, depending on how the stone fell and everything. But no, all in all, a fantastic job. And while very difficult, there is mostly stonework here, and you've figured out how to kind of melt away and give yourself footholds. This part is largely flat ground, so I'll
Okay.
say that over time it wouldn't be any issue for you to climb, all in all, to
Okay.
get up to this
Wow.
top platform. I will give you the addition of the fact that I completely messed up earlier in not saying more because I completely forget that some things are hidden on my screen and they are not for you. So I will give you 1 free pass to travel back and forth freely, being that you were already over there, as now the ice has formed a bit more of a land bridge back to where you just previously were, having now knocked all of this clear and kind of opening up a little bit more mass for you to travel through.
Cool.
Where you did see previously that there is in fact a suit of armor, or rather like a mostly like leather tunic-y style garb that can be made out to be armor, interwoven onto this frozen humanoid figure at the base of the other platform.
The middle one?
that you were
where
on.
you were just on.
Oh.
So yeah, I forgot that he mentioned that, and I mentioned that like a long time ago. I didn't reinstate that.
He did say something about get the armor, and I was like, okay. That's why I was like, what do I see?
Yeah.
And after you said no armor, I was like, all right, I guess not.
That makes
so
sense.
you're saying
So-
I would go back to...
You certainly
Okay.
can. There is a frozen humanoid figure if you want to mess with that. That does seem armored, but it didn't move at your presence, and it largely just seems to be ice with almost like, you know how ice has bubbles in it that kind of make it look gray sometimes, and it kind of, it's as though the ice itself, the bubbles, form a skeleton within.
Oh, that's dope.
That's cool.
I want to see an AI rendering of that. Okay, so I'm going to attempt to take off the
I'm
all,
scared. Tristan made us scared.
all of his armor and stuff.
And you do without
Okay,
fail.
cool.
That's
All
it.
right.
Yeah, no hidden anything here. The elemental is the
Gotta make sure.
major threat in the area.
All right, cool. So then I'm going to head back then after that.
Yeah, most people immediately run every time I do something like that. They're like, I'm not touching it now. You
Yeah,
crazy?
right. I only have, what, 3 hit points left?
Incredible.
So I'm going to run back to the top. I'm just going to inspect the area, but as you said, it doesn't seem like anything. Obviously, west is where you start, center is where it starts, south is where we exit if we lose, east is the armor, so I'm just,
Right.
if I
Pretty-
don't see
yeah,
anything
pretty
else, I'm just
straightforward.
going to head north. And you said there's the ice block?
Yeah, so as you head north and you check this area out, you can see now where this massive creature, getting a closer look, resembles very closely what you see below you. Standing now on this circular ice platform, you look down and you make out the image of this axolotl's face, carved in what almost looks like ice itself, forming a mask within this massive plate below your feet. And below it, darkness. So it's just frozen inside of the platform that you're standing on, dead center, below your feet.
Okay. I'm going to step off of it. And then
Mannequin's rather chatty today.
should I try to melt it or should I try to chip away at it? I'm going to try to pick at it, like ice pick at it.
Okay. It's plenty hefty that you recognize. As you do so, it's taking a little bit, so luckily it's not breaking up the stability much for how thick this clearly is once you start seeing.
Okay, so I'm going to break it up until I can access the mask.
Okay. Yeah, without issue, you start chipping away, and eventually you start to kind of feel around and you can start getting the general feel for this mask, if you will. And
I'm going to have the armor on, by the way, as soon as I get it off.
Nice.
So I do have that armor on, and now I have an axolotl mask, which is cool. Once I get the mask out, I'm going to firebolt the rest of the ice.
Okay. Just from off of it or standing on top?
I'm not standing on top. No, from off of it.
Okay. Well then, yeah. Burning away at the ice below you, mask in hand, you can now feel that this softly smiling, kind of almost delicate seeming icy mask kind of curls out like it's almost like a frozen flame, just kind of shooting out licks of flame off to the sides. The surface itself has these blues and silvers that it's shimmering with this kind of crystalline figure that it's carved into. And with it, as you flip it over, recognizing the clear, powerful presence, you can tell that there is this almost whitish blue crystal that's just humming with power at the base of the forehead from within it. And you watch
My
now
staff's
as
gonna look
it all
so
just kind
cool.
of melts away around you. You just see now this massive pit below you, now fully clad in your leather armor of cold resistance, holding this mask. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break.
Oh, snap!
That was awesome.
Congratulations
man. Oh, wow.
on one more success.
I literally was ready to die. And thank you, David. Thank you, everybody.
I was going to say, yeah, there were a few things that definitely could have worked. I will tell you, the dash would have gotten you to the end without it getting to you initially, and would have been a surefire way to just get past it for a time.
Yeah.
But getting to the outskirts, it wasn't touching you. So that was a great safe bet. So well done, well done.
Can I
That was
ask
really
the question right now?
good. You got
Are you saying, can he cast his firebolts and everything with that armor on?
It's just like a leather, jerkin, a almost like a tunic style vibe. Does would that
I'm trying to figure out
prevent
if
him?
it's special or okay.
No,
normally
it's not
yeah,
special
yeah,
in that way. No.
Yeah, no. Normally,
With
that would be
leather
a
armor?
problem for him.
I was gonna say
particularly,
it's
but-
been a really long time.
I'll try to learn
admittedly,
Ice
so I don't remember the specifics on casting.
Okay,
but
we'll go after that.
It'll probably be base, yeah. So, all right.
Okay.
Well, with that, we will continue our questioning here amongst ourselves as we let you guys take a quick break, and we'll come back for a brief moment.
Couldn't do it
So-
without you, Spars.
See you back here in a second, guys.
Yeah.
Okay. Welcome back yet again
Spars.
completed trial by Spars apparently.
Yes.
None could have done what they've done without Spars. So Spars, we thank you for your
You
service.
inspire us.
You are the greatest of the horsemen.
He inspires us.
He
The
inspires us.
27th horseman, if you will. The numbers just keep growing. I don't know where we're going to be at by the end of this campaign. There's going to be quite a few horsemen. It's going to be a whole army.
And
pretty
yet
good.
no horses.
And yet no horses, ever. That's not the goal here. Let's make that perfectly clear. No, congratulations, Nick and Calagon, on completing the water trial, which honestly is kind of terrifying.
Yeah,
so,
it was.
That's a big scary one for me, but
You
I'm very
almost
pleased to
gave
see
up.
that one is in fact
Until he couldn't get me. I'm like,
overcome.
Fireball. Oh, you can't even see me.
Now that being said, where we left off.
So what I have noticed
What do we got?
in these trials is they feel so impending, like impending doom. And then we figure out a way to get past them. Because in the fire trial, I felt the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, what do I do? There is nothing I can do.
Yeah.
And then I somehow got it past it.
Yeah.
Same thing with the water thing. You're like, there's nothing to do here. And then I'm like, lob an ice cube at it. And then somehow it was like as bad as the acorn is going to eventually be.
That's
But-
so funny.
And honestly,
Except
escaping
Arlyn.
the time he did, where he was like just like falling into the water, worked to his benefit. So that was great. But we'll talk a little bit more about this at the end of this session, as hopefully we can. Joel's saying he's about to speed run this trial here,
Yep.
so I will still pick up with this brief moment of Calagon. You do still have this massive dark tunnel, if you will, below you, where you are, and you can see now where the kind of frost is slowly chilling around it. And believe it or not, the frost is actually helping to light the path. As you can see now, that it does act almost like a slide as it kind of goes around a slight bend below you.
I'm gonna get on my knees, look into it. Hello? Hello?
Nothing.
I'm gonna flick a little pebble into it.
Okay. And it kind of vanishes off the side a little bit.
Look around. Here we go.
All right.
Jump in.
Fantastic. And as you fall, Cleave, go ahead and make your... Why do I keep messing up on initiative check for me? What a weird thing to keep forgetting.
Initiative?
I only have to say it like 18 times a week.
You should show more
As
initiative to remembering
Cleave,
that.
you are not given the same entry that these other guys have gotten up until this point. Instead, you are jutted feet first down into the sand, landing you in
Do I
this
fall
pit.
lightly and slowly with my mask on?
It's fairly light, not necessarily because of the mask, but because as you recognize the that river of ether had already kind of lightened your entire being previously. That being said, you do recognize that those effects do wear off based on what Arlyn had dealt with just moments earlier. And so, landing here, what is your initiative, sir?
land in there? That's so whack. Changes everything.
Yeah, the trials are a little different when you're going trial to trial.
Do I fall slow enough to try to make an intentional move with my footing?
Yeah.
I would like to try to land with like this, with one foot up on the right land.
Solid.
Do you have ways to prepare?
Literally, that's what I want to do.
Do you have ways to prepare before turning on initiative? If you don't land inside the pit?
Yeah, I was definitely going to do a lot of preparation if that didn't happen. But this is at least one thing that I would have prepared. The way I get into the pit was very important.
Cool. Yeah, for sure.
Or is it not? Right. This is yours.
Oh, no, I've got it.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Cool. Sorry, your initiative?
7.
7.
Oh, he's terrible in the initiatives, bro, for this
Always.
trial.
Your dexterity
That's okay.
modifier?
Huh?
+1.
+1? Let me double check here. All right. Then as you drop in, kind of slowly, arms about your side, you fall down, and with one foot slightly kind of grazing that lip, you kind of lock your heel in place first, and dropping the rest of your body in, you can now get a good view of these rocks starting to form around you, but no faster than you can react.
Beautiful. Oh my goodness. I gotta start moving though. Okay. That's exactly, even though that sounds like rocks now, at first it sounded like the next thing I do, which is I take some of the powder from all the ether rocks and everything that I've been grounding up, and I just like dust it into my hand and then just like start compressing and push with all my gravity, and then expand, and I do a little Doc Ock style, the power of the sun in the palm of my hands, and I just start pulling it out, and then it becomes a 5x5 flaming sphere.
Ooh, okay.
Let's go.
Fair enough, and horrifying. This dude just turned into a Super Saiyan down here somehow. All right. Yeah.
I just Kamehameha it right into the second guy.
Into the second guy. Very specific. Okay.
Into his chest, so that it's still touching the
Fantastic.
first guy's back.
Does that require a save or anything on my part?
So what we got here is any creature that ends its turn within 5 feet of it must make a dex save. On a bonus action, you can move it. There we go. If you ram the sphere into a creature, that creature must make the saving throw against the sphere's damage. Okay, so yes, dexterity saving throw.
Okay, dexterity saving throw, which kind of gave away isn't so great for these guys.
Let's go.
With a natural 2, that brings it down to a 1 on its dex
Let's
save.
go.
Bruh.
Okay, that is going to be. Let me borrow a d6 from here. No one looks like a rock. I like that. All right. Voila. Oh, beautiful. That's gonna be. Well, one of them is awesome. An 8 fire damage.
8 fire damage. Okay. Yeah, simple enough. As now this thing starts to form, you can see where it's still kind of clambering upward and starting to piece itself together, as you see now these hands literally grab hold of another stone and just place it at the top of this now stone golem. And as they now start turning out to you, you can see where this one gives you just the perfect target as its chest rounds out and just taking this massive heat to the chest. It does kind of knock it back for a brief moment as it now grounds itself again, and you can see where they just lock back into place to start their journey.
Did you say that hits 2 or one of them?
It hits one, but if they end their turn within 5 feet of it, it deals damage to anyone's within 5 feet of it.
Wow.
That's sick.
Okay, so you said it has a 5-foot radius itself?
Yes.
Okay, then for the
10
sake...
feet large. Nice.
Yeah, actually... So is it 5 foot? Yeah, it's a
Radius.
5-foot
So that
radius,
means
or
within.
is it a
Yeah.
full-
So that means within 15 feet. Around one side to another.
No,
Because
Well,
it's
it'd be
5
10
feet.
feet,
It's 5 feet
'cause-
wide.
Yeah.
5 feet to its left, 5 feet to its right. 15 feet total.
Oh, is that right?
Oh, so yeah,
'cause
the
it is 5
actual
feet.
stone is 5 feet,
Wow.
and then 5 feet out.
Don't hit David. Careful.
Sorry, David.
That's pretty crazy.
Then 5 feet out. So yeah, 15 feet.
You are the strongest horseman.
Holy
Sorry, Rodrick.
moly.
Whoa, 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 whoa,
new
hey,
strongest
wow.
level.
The
see.
new strongest horseman.
Okay, then let me...
My friends will never see this. I'm only supporting character with them.
I kind of want to just steal up like a monster block for this so that it's a little bit more movable, because you can move this one, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Let me see if I can find something that works better towards it, but...
Use
I
a
think
fire elemental. Is
that's-
that-
yep.
Yeah.
And this is called what?
Flaming sphere.
Flaming Spear.
It is like a
Fantastic.
solid object because it has to move around things and it can run into
Okay.
things.
Yeah, I mean, where would you like to place
That's
this
perfect.
Flaming
Right
Spear?
exactly there. Yep.
Right there. All right, cool. As it now knocks into this, do you have any bonus action or movement that you'd
That
like
was the
to
bonus.
use?
I'm not gonna move for
That's
sure.
a bonus action?
No. Excuse me. Casting it was the action.
Okay.
Moving it was a bonus.
Understood. That
So-
was horrifying.
No,
I was
no,
like,
no, no.
what do you
Whoa.
mean?
So I did everything was for the flaming sphere. So,
It's
so
been a while
that's
since
my
I played
turn.
a caster, but dang, have they gotten more powerful since.
No, that was it. That was
Hilarious. Okay, cool. Then yeah, as you know all too well from the stories of those previous horsemen who've come through and failed before you, they start their journey and end it largely around a flaming sphere, where I guess they're
Dang, now
taking
you're
more
hurting
damage now.
3? Now you're hurting 3? Well, okay.
That is so.
Yes,
OP,
and now
it's
at the
like
end of their
that.
turn, each of them will make their dexterity saving throws.
Okay, that's a 3,
That's crazy.
When they
a
surround it,
13,
just immovable
and an
sword.
18.
When they surround it.
What
Make
is
sure
the DC?
my
here?
DC. Yeah, let me double check on my DC really fast. It'd be easy to find if I had my paper. Hold on.
Wait, does he have the immovable sword?
Yeah.
And a very
Okay, the
movable
13 does
flaming
make
sphere.
it. What was the third one? It was something.
That
13?
was like an 18.
And an 18. Okay, so 2 of them make it.
Okay, so then the first one fails.
Dang, I gotta get my DC up.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, 13 is pretty low.
Are the immovable sword stats the same as the immovable rod?
That would be for Joel to disclose
As
if he
far as
chooses to.
Which I have now short rested with it like what, twice? So I
yeah,
really took
you're
my
set.
time.
When everything's surrounded,
so I know
just
my
clack.
stuff.
You guys hold in place. Let me kill these
So
guys
then
first.
one of them
You guys
takes
are very
the one that
crazy.
fails takes 8, and the other 2
We
take
were
4.
not powerful at all, and now I feel like we're OP for level 3s. a
Not
little
me.
bit.
At least not in the Earth Trial.
No, I mean you still did. I mean you're still
I mean,
great.
yeah, you guys
It's
have faced trials and
Hey, I have
come out
commanded
very
a
scathed.
stone golem and an ether elemental.
That's true.
It's pretty cool.
Dude, Arlen's gonna be
And
so jealous.
frightened an elemental.
He's gonna be so jealous. Once
He
Calagon,
does have all the dope
once
stuff
Calagon
already.
comes back looking like Jack Frost from the movie, you got freaking.
I used to
wearing
hate
a
water,
mask.
but now I
Rodrick
love
in
it.
Yeah, Rodrick doesn't look like himself at all. Looks
man.
insane. And I wonder now. Cleave looks like an ant.
Yeah, he does.
yeah, he's
Yeah,
he's
it's
pretty.
about to
alright.
look like a
But he
rocket.
was always able to do that.
It's
Okay.
alright. That's
Then
okay.
yeah, at the
Yeah,
end of their
true.
turn, they take damage,
That's
and
okay.
your
I am
turn
Zeus.
begins again.
All right,
So,
now I am
I
going
am
to
Zeus.
unsheath my immovable sword, place it in front of me, and make it immovable. Right in between, like it's touching the flaming sphere. So this is the
Okay.
situation right here. 2 things just like in place, just like making a wall.
You shall
not
pass.
That's my action. As my bonus action, I'm just gonna smack up the guy that's first in line and keep it in the middle. Though.
Hit him. Pop.
Okay,
Dope.
Dexterity saving throw for that guy.
fantastic. That's a 1.
That's a 1.
Ridiculous.
And that's another 8.
8 to the
I
first
have
one.
consistently rolled just 8 every
Wow.
time. To the first one, yes.
Bro.
And that is... Oh, wait. Did I do a bonus? Yeah, my bonus action was moving the sphere, so yes. That's it.
Okay. Then with that, as your turn concludes, you know what they do. They start trucking it on forward, moving
Wait. Immovable
through
sword.
as
They
the immovable
can't.
sword does absolutely nothing to these monstrous, heinous golems weighing well above its weight capacity, at which it cannot withstand their overwhelming mass as they walk through it.
Whoa. Okay.
So
We
it
got-
just sort of
we gotta
like
rename
does this to
that
me?
sword.
Yeah.
Is it
I'm just
broken?
oh, man.
Did it break?
No, they just...
No.
You're
Just
able to move
moved
it if you do it like
If you have
30
enough
strength
strength.
check or exceed the weight limit.
So like a saloon door. They just.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just continue on their path,
Dang.
as you all know
Dang,
quite
that's
well.
crazy.
That is great.
That's all right,
But
though. That's
ending
all right.
their turn still within range
All
of
4
that
of them
flaming
get hurt
sphere.
now.
So they far exceed 8,000 pounds. That's where these things are at. Oh, I don't want them to follow me at all. Okay, all
I was
right.
gonna say, yeah, from the heft of how far back these other guys have been blown back while they're 10 feet away, each time they've not reached it and been blown back in full in those same ways
Blimey.
without stepping out themselves. So, yeah, they're hefty. They still have all the primary stats of an earth elemental. So they're not small golems. They're
it
just
by-
slightly weaker than a traditional elemental.
Put it by a foot, maybe you can trip it. Like break
Maybe,
it.
maybe.
Oh, okay.
What I might be able to do. Well, no. Dang, these things really weigh a lot.
No.
So I can.
So charming.
I can easily lift 5,000 pounds, but apparently they're way more than 8,000 pounds, so I can't do that. I thought I was gonna be able to like throw a trip one. Yeah. So what
Just
I'm going
attack.
to do on my next turn is... Wait, did they take their end of turn damage?
No, that's where we're at currently.
Okay,
so
okay,
go
okay,
ahead and,
okay.
and
So I'll roll
the
another
damage.
probably 8. Let's see what happens.
And what is the
let's
DC
go.
specifically for me?
Not 8 this time. 12. They just have to make or break 12.
Okay. Cool. Only the third one passes. So how much damage is that coming to each of them?
That is 4 or 2 on the third one.
Okay. Fantastic.
That was a pretty low roll.
Yeah, not quite as impactful as the previous, but still quite impactful as you see them now wearing away slowly but surely. This first one in shambles currently,
Bro.
as it is now just
I'm
and
not even
breaking
gonna chase
apart
him. I'm just gonna let this keep
as it
happening.
just kind of
I would
starts
just
falling,
move it
moving
to the
forward.
next section until he's down.
You know, I guess I can do that. Yeah.
All right.
But he's here for now, so I'm just gonna probably smack him one more time.
Back to your turn.
So on my turn, here's what I'm gonna do. I am going to use my action to become an ape again. Still holding the immovable sword. And just sort of like pull it back with just my big monkey arms over here, just like waving it around with orangutan arms. Yeah, I would like to be an orangutan specifically, for
The long
sure.
arms.
Now that I think about it. I'm an
some serious
orangutan. I'm going to
strength?
keep wearing my armor in my orangutan body. And
Extra
I'm going to be
frumpy.
an ant-faced orangutan wearing armor. That's what I would like to be.
Disgusting.
Everything about
Let's
it
go.
is
I
off-putting.
would very much not like to see art of this. As the blackened chitinous exoskeleton of an insectoid orangutan hurling about this ether stone gem-infused blade above its head. What would you like to do, Sir Cleave Stirwind?
I would like to stir the wind. No, I won't do that this time. I will then, that was my action, so I'll use my bonus action to just swing it right into the first one again. One more bash, hopefully just one more.
Okay.
Should you preemptively move it to
yeah.
the next location?
Absolutely.
Well, this is the movement,
That
so this
is
is fine.
I've
It'll be
rolled
fine.
like 4 2s.
As
This
in,
is
like,
crazy, which
hit
means
him
it's a
and then
1.
Move it.
Oh, that's
You know what I
crazy.
mean?
It's almost like you're
Move it
using our
to,
levels.
Well, hold on.
To here, because he won't be. He
My rolls
won't
are
get
getting
hurt
great,
at
it's
the end of
crazy.
his turn.
Let me make
He
sure
did
I
say he
have
wants
the
a
thing
speed
right.
run, so you are helping.
well,
It
first and
says
foremost-
when you move the sphere, you can direct it over the. Okay.
Right there.
The sphere. Oh, you can move the sphere. If you ram it into. Oh, okay. You don't need like extra space. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, you're right. I would. That's a great move.
Yeah.
I will move the sphere and hit him from his front side,
Okay.
bashing him. In
And go ahead and roll
right
your damage,
around
please.
there. Voila. Okay. Here we go. 7.
7 points of damage
Nice.
is enough to melt away at the joints holding this massive golem together, as now you crush this flaming spear into it and watch as it just kind of pops almost
Can you move it back to where it
from
was?
this almost light
If I hit something, that it
Combustible.
stops its movement.
explosion, this mini
Got it.
explosion as it now just collapses onto the ground and
Didn't know it was
leaving
that.
That's kind of why I was
pieces
like,
down onto the
maybe I'll keep it in
ground.
the same spot, but it doesn't matter. It's fine.
That's right.
And slowly but surely, as you have heard, rolling its head your way.
Nice.
Heads will roll.
And they will now start their turn. As this stone golem reaches down before it, grabbing at the pieces, and it starts lobbing across the way.
Yeah, my bad.
And with
It
that,
only would have worked if he still
they end their
was
turn.
alive.
2 of them now, beside the flaming sphere.
Oh, he wastes a turn doing that. Oh yeah, I would never move it from that
Correct.
spot then.
I would
Yeah.
not have moved it. Yeah.
Okay.
If I knew he was gonna break.
Yeah, that was a pretty golden opportunity there to deal even
If I-
more
Yeah, if I knew he was gonna break.
damage.
All right.
sucks.
I will then bash it right into this guy.
At the end of their turn, they're going to take more damage, though. So let's start there.
Okay, yeah. They're just those
It's
two.
the
2
two
of them
bottom ones.
take half and full damage. So yeah, go ahead and roll that for me real quick.
10.
Okay,
10 and 5.
Ooh. That's good.
that is good.
All right.
You're gonna
Alright,
be
so-
Calagon's hero pretty soon.
I was gonna say, yeah,
About to be-
for
Keep acting like
all
this.
of the horrors that you've heard of how simple this trial seems, and yet how everybody's getting beat up by these things, you just watch as they're just starting to melt away as you just kind of change your grip and just swing about and watch as this sphere just flies at them at your command, just slamming golem after golem and slowly chipping away one after the next and beating down on them. It is now, in fact, your turn again. So yeah, go ahead and roll
And I'm
whatever
deadpan
damage
totally like
for
that,
this next one. You said you're slamming it into the new first
Yeah,
one?
the new first, exactly.
Okay. Which it fails with a 10. Second
And
one
I'm dealing a
fails.
9.
Third one.
What?
Oh, well, it only
the
slams for the
only
first. This one.
Yeah, yeah.
Forgive me. Yep.
But he fails, that's 9 damage.
9
fire
damage.
damage on that
Come
one.
on now.
Okay.
Burn him up. Burn him up.
Like the Jonas Brothers told me to.
And just kind
Let's
of
go.
swinging about, you pull it up and slamming down. You watch as it just crushes this
My
golem to pieces again and pull it back out into place.
Brother.
Yet another head
This is crazy.
that he just
He said he was
rolls
gonna
out
speedrun
into
it.
place.
This is
Yeah, this guy was not kidding, guys.
Bro.
He said, this guy was so confident. He said, guys, I got this.
We picked
Yeah.
the
This is
wrong
gonna take like 5 minutes.
trials.
We're like, what are you talking about? It's gonna take 5 minutes. Everybody lost on this one. It's gonna take 5
Except
minutes.
me.
apparently.
I was just an idiot not to fight this stupid elemental.
That was my bonus action. With my action, I would like to monkey arm, reach out and slash the new first one with my.
I feel disrespected in this moment. This is, for all my hard work, all of the fear that I've stricken
smack
these
him.
players with. He insults my golems.
I probably missed though. Let's see here. It's got a.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's like a 9.
Yeah, okay. Now, luckily, as it now reaches down, you watch as it grabs up pieces of the other one and pulls it back to block as it now starts lobbing its fallen friend's pieces back to where it should go. But ending its turn exactly where it was in the end. And therefore, taking a bit more damage. The first one does succeed, the second one fails.
We're once again at 8, so it's gonna be 8 and 4.
Wow. 4 and 8.
That's
right
crazy.
There.
Alright. Then they
kidding
do
me, dude.
now.
they get to move?
Oh, I'm sorry, no, they end their turn there, taking some damage, and then it's back to you.
Then it's back to me. I'm gonna smack up the
Ridiculous.
first one.
Do it.
Okay, Flaming Sphere, I take it.
Flaming Sphere
Okay.
for 8.
Bro.
That's the one, man.
Bro.
And it does
Speed
take
running it.
the full 8 damage.
Let's go. And I
As-
swing at it. A little better with a third. No, just a 12. A 12 to hit.
12 is
Nope.
pretty good, but not nearly enough, as this golem treats the sword just as it did last time, grabbing at it before you even reach it and using it almost like it would a handrail to just kind of help it move along as it now continues into the next little trough here.
In my head, I'm just like, I'm so giving this thing to Calagon. I can't use it anyway.
And of
Can
course,
Calagon? That's the question.
No,
ending
he can't
its
either,
turn, taking
But Cleave would never believe that.
Yeah, true.
all of the damage.
Take
All
all
right.
the damage.
Sheesh, I definitely
Burn
gotta
'em
make
up.
sure I'm checking this
Light
ability
'em up,
next, but this seems
light 'em up,
crazy.
12.
Up.
My full, both 6s.
Okay.
Light him up, light him
With
up.
12 damage, you watch these second and third golems just crumbling to small bits as they almost look more like columns, just slowly, just kind of almost like cycling their way through with 2 little rocks at their feet, just kind of moving towards their goal. And yet, this one in the front is not quite able to withstand the onslaught of the flaming sphere as it continues on, beating down on a third, now dead stone golem. Its
What
head
is this?
rolling into the trough beside you.
Bro, this is what you should have put in the gem.
And
I thought about it.
Yikes.
But I don't think
Although-
it would have done it for that
The water
trial. It
elemental?
wouldn't
it's
have been as
maximum
good.
of first level. Is that a first level?
Oh no, this is level 2. This is level
Okay. That is
that
important.
makes
That
sense.
would have
Yeah,
been
only
busted.
first level.
Yeah.
That would have been nasty.
Glad
Especially
I still
the
limited
salamander
something in
versus
this
the water
campaign.
elemental. Like
Sheesh.
that means fire would have done some damage, bro.
This is insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, as you well know, on its turn, it's going to start lobbing the chunks of its ally and taking some flaming sphere damage. Joel, run it.
AoE
8
galore, bro.
Okay. With a natural 20, the second one still crumbling to pieces with the first, as they both now just begin to melt with molten earth and rock as it now just drips to the ground below.
This is wild.
Rolling more heads your way. Cleave,
You guys will never
Sterling,
even see this ability. Right?
Nobody's gonna know.
Oh, that's so crazy.
Nobody will know.
They didn't even get close.
And then he chooses to be a squirrel.
This is the pacifist of the group, basically.
Yeah.
He's like nigh pacifist. He's like
If the
just
ball
about,
does all the damage.
Cleave, how'd it go
my
in there?
hands are clean.
It's all right. It's okay.
But it's
Cleave's all right.
totally
Cleave's all right.
deadpan in this room. Cleave hasn't made a single sound. He hasn't moved almost at all, other than to swing his sword a couple times. It's been very like just military, just focused, just. the whole time.
Fantastic.
He's like 1,000% in the zone.
This is the most fortunate and most unfortunate version of this for me as the DM, who of course wants your demise in this moment. As the stone golems with nowhere else to toss except to get out of their way, this final stone golem in place has to instead toss his ally's remains forward just to be able to move before he's able to get into the next little burrow there. And therefore, wasting its turn, it is now your turn once more.
Nice. I'm gonna bash the mess out of him with this thing.
Yeah, boy.
Anybody want to guess what I rolled just now?
The 1.
2.
It is a 2 that amounts to a 1.
You're both right.
So, roll your damage.
Let's go.
I haven't even done what it would be way more fun than this. Okay, this is 6 damage.
How long does this last?
A long time.
You didn't even
Because
hit
I
the
feel
guy.
like
Maybe it's not. Maybe we've
You
done
move-
enough.
It
You
might have-
moved it,
if
but
it's
you
a
didn't
minute,
hit
Might
him.
have gone, but you can always recast. Your sword swings have done.
It is a minute.
Next
So have
to
we done more than
nothing.
10 turns?
See, probably not.
I don't think so.
If anything, you're on
You
the
moved it,
10,
but you didn't
like-
hit him.
Yeah, because I've been dealing damage to like 4 of them at a time.
Yeah,
per turn.
honestly,
yeah, yeah.
probably not.
I don't think it's been 10 turns, bro.
Yeah.
That's so crazy. You killed like 2 in 1 turn.
This is
2 in 1 turn.
This is the most heinous act of violence against NPCs I've seen in a long time.
It's
As
just
this
unfair,
disgusting
bro.
freaking orangutan just swings about, just freaking puppeteering the greatest massacre of golems to have ever arisen in all of
Beast Titan.
Arendor.
It's just
That's.
Beast
I was about to say
Titan
that's the
right
next
now.
move right now.
It is Beast Titan right now.
all- Hail
Because
the Monkey
for my
King,
actual
dude.
action,
It's just
so I did 6 damage as I
6
swung it into
damage.
him. For my actual action, I'm gonna. When I jumped down from the last trial, I had said that I dropped all the stuff that I wanted to take with me. So all the barrels of rocks and everything jumped in before me. Are those around me? Can I pick up a rock?
They would not be.
No. Are there any rocks at all? Oh, wait. I don't want to
There's
throw one of my
heads.
points. Yeah, I do. Maybe it'll come back. I'm gonna test that. I'm gonna pick up one of the golem heads and just lob that at this guy.
Roll to hit. You are not proficient unless you're proficient in.
Why? I'm proficient in slings. I can throw rocks.
It's not the same as barehanded. It's
But
Yeah,
he's
I
a
guess.
monkey.
It's just throwing a rock.
It's just a
everybody's
thrown
proficient with
improvised
rocks.
weapon in this
Throwing
instance. It is
poop.
I
also
can
a
throw
head
daggers
of a
like a
golem.
pro, but not a
Monkeys.
rock. Come on.
It's a very heavy
Throw
rock
poop.
That's true.
normally.
You'll be
You
proficient
also
in that
are
one.
It's a poop
able
rock.
to lift it with greater ease. But just roll flat.
All right. So if it's just my strength, no proficiency, I believe that will be a 14.
14.
You always said you were good at
No,
Mikala.
yeah, that is significantly later. What's your current
Otherwise,
weight
it would
lift?
be 5,000 pounds without being covered.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead and roll at advantage then. That
All
is.
right. Well, it almost won't make a difference because that was a really high roll.
Was it?
Yeah, it's just that I'm not getting proficiency.
That's rough.
Oh, that's better. That is still better. 16.
Okay. That is luckily
That hits.
enough to watch as this nearly full health stone golem takes the skull of its ally to the chest and instantly crumbles.
Yo, what the heck?
Oh.
Are you gonna let out a King Kong?
I won't even. No, I don't even move.
And you watch
I just
now
watch.
Stone Ape
as
face.
one head
Yes,
rolls
face.
your way, and then a second as your flaming sphere now vanishes from existence with these heads rolling over towards you. And you can see ahead of you where there's like a puff of dirt that kind of shoots up at the trough before you. And then you can see that it starts to shift. And within the trough, there's a form starting to take shape, as though the sands are all compressing and hardening or moving and shifting to reveal another shape, as you instead, Cleave, feel the weight from below you just drop out. You are, however, one leg on. I will say make a dexterity saving throw to stay on top,
as
if
I
you
cannot
would
be
like
moved as
to.
long as I'm touching a solid surface.
Oh, that's
Yes,
right, 'cause you have
the
ant
mask.
mask.
The ant mask. It can't be moved, brother.
So I would like to just be
Just
there,
standing there with the one leg dangling, you just kind of look back,
It's the man who can't be moved. Isn't that
stepping
a song?
foot forward.
please. I
You look down,
Yeah.
and you can see where now the sand that was at your feet is forming a very large pile in a room below you.
By the scrolls.
I step up calmly onto the earth here, and I walk across to the other pile there.
Cool. Yeah. At the other bowl, there is yet another mask, as you may have surmised.
Nice.
And at this point, all the golems now just complete messes on the floor and in their respective troughs. Along this pit, you can see that it reads, "The path by which you travel may not always be seen, but change requires trust. Dig deep, and you will find what you seek, for that which you can become. Once you have overcome the trial in full." And sitting before you in this sandy pit, there is, of course, one more mask which has a different shape than the one that you're currently wearing. This mask it's forged from these overlapping earthen plates that make a very tightly coiled, armored looking face of a very basic looking animal. And with your knowledge, I'll say, of nature, of general just fauna, you get the idea that this is probably then the mask of the pangolin.
Pangolin. I love that.
Of the what?
Pangolin.
Its
Sand
eyes-
shrew.
Pangolin.
Yes. Its eyes are these narrow slits of like burnished bronze kind of inset into these earthen plates, and as you reach down to touch it, it's so much heavier than the sword that you're wielding in that moment, and yet for you it feels as light as a feather.
Will
So
it stack, or do I have to take this one off and put that one on? Do they like
We're gonna try to put it
merge
on?
to each other? Yeah, I want to see if like
Okay.
they're part of the same.
As you go
set.
to place it on your face, nothing happens. It literally will not do anything in that moment. You do, however, get a good view of the rust-colored crystal on the inside of that mask.
That's very cool. All right, then, as has been his method this whole time, he's gonna take a squat. He's gonna sit down and rest with it, ponder over this new mask, put it on, and just do a whole short rest before moving on to his leisure.
Okay.
Does Cleave realize he just beat the Earth trial and he didn't know Arlyn was not in it anymore?
Was Arlyn?
We
supposed
entered
to
at the
have-
same time. I was in Earth.
Clearly not.
So now you would know that he didn't pass.
Yeah.
You would
that's
know
fine.
Arlyn didn't pass.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's been in sorrow over that kind of the whole time. That and.
Is that why you were so serious the whole
Yeah.
time?
All right. Moving on. Where would you like to go?
When I eventually get back up, I'm gonna walk back over to the one that was now a hole, and go down, jump down there, just like I did the first
Okay.
one.
Jumping down, it's
In rock form, I guess. Hold up. What changes now that I'm a rock guy?
nothing. You don't become a rock guy. Nothing happens.
You haven't put the
can't
mask on.
Put that mask on.
You can't.
Even after I took off the other one.
You can't take off the other one.
You can't.
Whoa.
Only death will take it off.
If you, yeah,
that's
as I say, if
right.
you remember,
Oh, so there are supposed to be 4 guardians. You'll get a mask. You'll be fine.
If I accept it.
so
Well, that's weird.
falling down now onto this kind of sandy mass below, there is this empty room, with the exception of one small item in the middle of this massive sigil. And you can see carved into the ground is simply the symbol of Earth. And in a much, much smaller form near its center is that exact same thing, almost just this small piece of Earth carved out and clearly sitting atop its larger symbol.
I'm gonna walk over to it, examine it, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, I mean it's pretty straightforward. It looks like the outer edges of this diamond shape, and it's kind of this stone carving. Matches.
carving? It just looks like that?
It's carved out of the same stone that this entire place is made out of.
I'm gonna place the mask on it.
Okay. Nothing seems to occur in that moment.
Cleave is stumped. He sits back down. I can't move Earth. I can't.
Again, this
Put
is
on the
so
mask.
this is on top of the main sigil. There's like just an item just sitting on top.
Oh,
There's literally
okay.
just
I
like
thought
a
it was
small
just like- okay,
diamond
sure, I picked it
just
up.
sitting on top. Cool. Similar to the mask, it seems heavy, but not to you.
Sure.
Not in this moment. Yeah, but nothing else seems especially significant about it in this moment. And with that, you look around. There are no entryways or exits. You kind of look up, and there are no passageways other than where you just arrived from, with that large sand mound kind of reaching up to its cusp, if you will.
I have absolutely nothing. Let's move to insight check. I have no idea what I would do here. I'm just at the bottom of a hole, and that. I mean, that.
Well, again, it's
Only
so
thing I would
this
take
is
is
a
climb
very
out.
low ceiling here,
Okay.
and the sand effectively just like mounds back up to the
Yeah, so
next
yeah, I would
room where
climb
you
out.
can,
That's,
you can get it. That
I would look around the room and see if
There's
there's
no-
anything to be done. I
yeah,
would try to
there's
understand the thing,
nothing
but if
other
there's
than
nothing, no instructions
one
or anything,
item in
I
this
just
room.
leave.
Cool, yeah. Easy enough. So then, leaving back up to the top, you find that you are similarly enclosed, but that where you were looking previously, there was no passageway for the other trough in that room. And yet, there's a clear shifting of the sands where you can see now that it's starting to trickle downward. And the sands
In the
from the
other
other
okay,
trough
okay.
are slowly pouring out below.
Okay, I just had to get the thing. All right. Yeah, I go that way now.
Simple enough. Nothing much to it. As now, hopping down into the other, you can feel now where the sand starts to flow with you, and it's almost like being stuck in an hourglass. Like, it just starts to pull you down, and as it does so, you can feel the weight of it kind of closing in around you, only for it to now escape with one thud, collapsing onto the ground. and opening up to this large chamber where directly across from you, you can see the nice, vibrant glow of this purple room coming at you as you can now hear the light spoken speech of friends. And with it, as you can now hear the light voice echoing through this chamber of Calagon saying, well, here we go. You now hear this splash of water and clattering of ice as it shatters around the corner from where you are. You find yourself, however, surrounded by this deep greenish glow where you can see the details of this small room are kind of interwoven with that same darker brown brick inlay, and you can feel this power surging from below you. And you can tell that for whatever reason, one way or another, there is a source of power at your feet that is actively feeding into you as you are currently. And the same, of course, therefore, goes for you, Calagon, off in your chamber. And so now, having passed all 4 trials, mask in hand and mask worn, Cleave, you can hear the voices of your friends echoing still throughout, as though they were still actively speaking, but repeating the same words. And then it almost seems like it gets eaten away as those sounds are immediately just snuffed out, and you can hear the sounds of heavy footsteps. And that's where we'll pick up next time.
All right.
Oh no!
As you guys have
I don't like heavy
finally
footsteps.
made it to the lower levels of the Ziggurat.
Wow.
Congratulations,
You
guys.
guys is not everyone.
You guys,
3 out of
Too
4
many.
horsemen
too many people.
have now reached.
You know, it would have been cool to
the
see
lower
like
levels.
the 4 of us. And
It
the
would
4
have been
portals.
really cool,
That
yeah.
would have been
It would have been pretty dope.
awesome.
It would have been pretty dope. I was really hoping that
But,
you
you
guys
know.
would cycle through and find a way to make it work. It is 10:14. Would you guys like to run a brief insight check here still?
That's what I
And
was worried
then
about.
we
We
can
have
still
to,
maybe
right?
pick up a little bit next week
I don't
and
know the
kind of
rules.
split it up, or we could just do next week, or
What are you
I'm
thinking,
fine with
guys?
whatever.
let's take it to a group vote here.
I'm fine with whatever.
All in favor of continuing on with as much insight check as we feel comfortable with for the time being? By a show of hands.
I actually don't have to be anywhere in the morning like early, but I just think we should respect the time of the show the way it is. I don't think
We also
we should.
started very late.
Not only
Yeah,
we
respect
did
the
start
time of the
very
show,
late.
Like the
but
audience.
also I don't want to rush divine inspiration as well.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to make something secondary.
Fantastic.
That's-
All
We
right.
also
shouldn't
pushed it
be.
off 2 times in a row though, so maybe next week we should just do that. We'll talk
Cool.
about that. But
All right,
anyway.
exciting.
Yeah.
Well, I guess with that then, yeah, no, it's absolutely. I'm with you now on the divine inspiration bit. So with that, we will wrap up for tonight's session, and we'll get to talk a little bit more about all of the excitement behind the trials, what they may have gotten, not gotten, missed, the potential outcomes that they could have had. And maybe a little bit of what's to come. So we'll see. Next week should be a ton of fun. I've been so excited to talk about the Bastion here. Just getting to see how it all unfolds, getting to see who takes on what trials and everything. So I'm pretty hyped to actually get to discuss all that with you guys freely and openly finally.
Me too.
But,
One quick question.
Yeah.
We
yeah.
can't take the mask off, but it only works in the ziggurat.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll talk about that at Insight Check.
Yeah, that'll be it next week.
That'll
That's
Joel
what-
hit
that's
me
what
with
I'm
like a
gonna start.
machine gun of questions last week after the session that I was like, yes, no, yes, can't answer that. And I'm excited to now be able to answer those a little bit more freely, but obviously there's some background that you guys wouldn't necessarily have on
Yeah.
the powers that be.
David.
What terrifying nonsense is
Dude,
Craig?
rubbing his head onto the mannequin.
Oh my god.
This guy's having so much fun with it over here.
It's definitely not your first day back there, that's for sure.
Hello.
This guy's a whole menace. I love it.
I just wanted to be a part of Divine Inspiration, so I
man.
put myself.
That is so ridiculous.
All right. Well, what are we at?
good.
The
5.
fifth commandment?
Right? Yep.
I'm sorry. David, you look like an idiot.
That's awesome.
This is this blockhead on the mannequin body. That is so funny, bro.
We gotta find a way to edit the shape a little bit, and we'll see how realistic we can make it.
Hey, if we can make it a green screen background, I could do it. Really
I was gonna
well.
Yeah.
Even
I could
just
actually
a
do it
black
exactly.
background would look okay. That would be even not bad.
That's fair.
That's so funny.
We'll see what happens next time Javi's away, I
I
guess.
can actually put my head on this freaking thing. I have a green screen.
This
I'll
is
bring it.
wild. This
So you
stuff
could have
just
done
keeps
that the
getting out
whole.
of
You
control.
should have done that the whole time, dude. That would have been hilarious.
Yeah, we're gonna end up with like a whole moving Rodrick in his place next time.
Yeah.
Just sitting there animated, running around, and just like fighting while we're talking.
That's so funny.
All right,
That is so
fifth
funny.
commandment. Yeah, let's get to it, guys.
All right, that's
Um,
going to be Exodus chapter 20, verse 12.
All right, Exodus 20:12. Joel, are you reading out of any specific translation
I'm
here?
at the ESV right now.
ESV. Okay, so Exodus chapter 20, verse 12, English Standard Version. Go ahead and take it away.
Oh, sure. All right, that says, honor your father and mother, that your days may be long in the land that the Lord your God is giving you. This is a cool one because this is not too dissimilar from the last one, where there's a lot of what's the word here? Commentary to go with it. There's a lot of there's promises. This one is the one particularly where in the verse itself there's a promise. There's a promise, right?
There's a blessing.
That the Lord, that your days may be long in the land that the Lord your God is giving you.
It's pretty amazing.
Or a blessing, I should say, not a promise. There's a blessing. Yeah. Oh, do you have something?
Well, I was gonna say one thing about this is a lot of people will, take it for face value as they do, but what I kind of think about this when he says to honor your mother and father, it's because, okay, how do I explain what I'm thinking? Like, the way I think about it is it's not just obviously honor your mother and father, yeah, but it's because that's God's like plan. That's like his how am I trying to say it? It's kind of like oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I'm
This
drawing
is me
a
every
blank.
time I have to say initiative for some reason.
yeah. So people can direct it just straight to honor your mother and father, and God will be happy. But in reality, it's kind of more than just the mother and father.
Okay.
It's God puts a kind of a structure on how we should live, and it's more honoring the structure of how we should live. And again, I'm not really able.
No,
I have
it's
it right
important.
here,
No,
but
because,
I
yeah,
can't.
There is like a hierarchy, a hierarchical system in which God sets one over another, and at the end of the day, like, God is the top of that hierarchy.
Yeah.
And so, like, honoring your father and mother is important because obviously it shows that we are to be as servants all of our lives. We are to serve those above us. And so Jesus talks a lot about honoring those in authority over you, not just your mother and father, but even tyrants, like full on bad people in authority. It's honor them. Doesn't mean, obey every evil command that they give you against God's nature, but rather honor them, respect them, do what you can. And it's important to note first and foremost that honor is not the same as obey. I do want to clarify that first and foremost because the very first word here actually trips people up in that they think that honor just means obey. Like, okay, fine. Yeah, you told me to do the dishes, I'll do the dishes. Okay, whatever. That's not honoring of your mother and father. Going out and trashing, my parents, they're so stupid. That's not honoring your father and mother. And that's something that I've had to learn throughout my life in that I was a dumb kid, dumb teen, and I was awful, and my parents were genuinely like the most loving people I could ever have asked for. And like my father, especially being the man of the house and raising me as a man, would always be the one who would not only punish primarily, but he would also therefore come back to me and love on me. And I remember that there were points where I would do something where it was in obedience, but it wasn't in honor of my father or of my mother. And he was always the one to step in, and he would gently, lovingly correct me every time and allow me to honestly feel bad about the way that I treated him, just because he treated me so much better. You know, it's that concept of heaping hot coals by just loving over the hate, essentially. It's just that overwhelming love of God that is poured out from above, that you can now see from God the Father, now poured into my Father here on earth, that then pours into me, which is again feeding this perfect hierarchy given by God from heaven, in which I now get to experience that love at this bottom base value, where I now see my Father emulating God and his love for me.
That's what
and
I was trying
I've
to say.
learned
Yeah. That's pretty much what I was trying to say. Yeah.
Yeah, so I've learned so much on what it is to honor instead of just obey, in that, you know, when I go out, I recognize, like, no, my parents have done everything for me. It is my job now to try to give back. It's my turn to take care of them. It's my turn to talk them up. Where parents get so excited about their kids and they say, "Yeah, my little Nick is the smartest around. He's so cool. He's so hardworking. I'm so proud of my little baby boy."
Were you raised by Cleave?
Yeah, right. Sounds like it.
Mommy does kind of talk that way sometimes. But now, you know, it's my turn, and I get so excited now to talk about my parents who are that loving, and I get to go out and be like, "Yeah, no, my mom's super sweet. She worked hard, was great with real estate decisions, and got us to have a shared property together. That's an incredible thing. She's a brilliant woman. When I tell you, like, genius level woman, incredible. My father, most loving man I've ever met, most charismatic, just awesome dude. And these are things that I wouldn't have seen had God not poured out that love through that very system that he set in place."
That's good. That is not much to add, at least on my part there.
I'm going to do a whole thing, but so I think you have, well, there's a whole lot.
There's so much to
First of all,
everything
you guys have the perspective of being fathers. I think that's that's an interesting thing.
Yeah, you got us beat already.
I'll throw one thing your way, because I have so many things I could do on this one. First of all, I want to keep in general every single week that we're doing these, I want to keep in mind, like, the overarching thing that I was trying to say, where these are all encompassed by the main two commandments Jesus says. When he says, well, what is the most important commandment? He says, it is love the Lord your God with all your heart, right? And then there's another like it, that is to love your neighbor as yourself, right? So love God, love people. And you see the transition from commandment 1 to commandment 10 is from most God-centered to most people-centered, always with God still really at the center. So you start to get towards the middle here, which right now we're like directly in the middle, number 5, you see like this perfect balanced handoff where it's about how you treat another person, but that person is the most direct analogy of who God is that you're ever going to get on earth, which is your parents.
Yeah.
Right. So now we're right here at the middle. And that's a really important part about why honoring. So this all speaks to how you honor God, right? So from the first one, it's to put God first. The second one is don't create another thing to put in front of him. Third one is don't take his name in vain, right? If you're going to take his name, make it mean something. Number 4 is that he gives you a special day. So now we start to move into the people-centered stuff. He's gifted you with a special day to rest, and he says, model it after what I did. I modeled it for you. I rested, right? So I'm moving to the 5th one now, and I want to just point out a quick story from the Gospels, because these all relate to something Jesus did, of course. Do we know Jesus' first miracle? Are we aware in the room?
Wine.
His first miracle? The water into wine, right? When this happened at the wedding, Mary was the one who specifically wanted to save the wedding, basically. So his mother comes to him and says that she, like, do something, like help him out. Yeah. And he specifically tells her what God's will is on this situation, which is that this is not my time to start doing miracles. But she asks him again, And this is where he sets the tone for he's setting our example. He's being our example on earth, where he lived a perfect human life, which means he faced temptations, which means he had parents who had, and he had to actually live the struggles, so to speak, of a human, right? So even though the writer thing, in one way, would have been not to do the miracle because it was not his time, he modeled for us, but you honor your father and mother. In that moment, that was him telling you, like, you're gonna follow commandment number 5, as long as it's not evil. That was he was putting us in our place there, like that. Even Jesus is gonna honor his mother when she asked something of him.
That's beautiful.
Man, it's awesome stuff.
Interesting.
There's so many
You're the
things to
man,
get
Joel.
there.
God's setup is
Trying
always
to translate
perfect.
what's in your head. I can't do
Yeah.
that tonight, apparently.
Isn't that incredible? Like the idea that he is honoring his father and his mother in
his
that
mother in
same
that-
act
Yeah.
of saying, like, hey, I'm going to express to you the will of God in this moment, and you know the deal here,
Yeah.
but I'm still going to do what you've asked of me just to be
To honor
loving,
you, to
just
love
to
you, yeah.
just to pour out that love on you and say, like, okay, Mom,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
awesome. That's so cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Any fatherly insights over here?
Well, I was gonna say even when he was going to the cross, he chose a caretaker for his mother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So even at that point, she was still in mind. Like
pretty
I'm
amazing.
I'm of the belief that we're meant to take care of our parents when we get older.
Absolutely.
And I do everything to raise my children with hoping that is something that they would keep in mind, because again, I would love to. We all get old and weak and frail, and we all end up needing taken care of, you know. But that's an example that I try to set for my kids. That, you know, that's just something that, and I know that Manny's on the same page as me with this kind of stuff. That's just what we do, and that's part of honoring your father and your mother. And that's the example that Jesus set for us, and yeah, it's hard to do that in this world because we live in such a selfish world. I've realized, like even towards your parents, like the amount of people I've spoken to that don't care about their parents is astonishing to me.
Yeah.
And
really
I just
scary.
can't fathom that. I literally just can't. When my mom is going through something, I have to drop everything and figure out how to fix it. So
Yeah.
Praise God.
Well, speaking of honoring your father and mother, and because Nick kind of like was giving me some love over here for talking about the Ten Commandments here. This is a topic specifically I've been thinking about a lot lately for the last few months. So somewhere, maybe almost a year ago, I listened to a clip from a sermon from Vodi Bakum where he was talking about how he won't let his daughters date a man that doesn't even know the Ten Commandments, right? And I've never met his daughters. I'm not saying I'm trying to date Vodi Bakum's daughters. All I'm saying is I realized in that moment that I wouldn't be on the table. And I was just like, dang, I'm not even like I don't even meet the bare minimum standard over here. And I was just like, man, like I don't know, it was a small thing that convicted me. And so I posted the Ten Commandments up at my front door now, and every time I walk through it, I try to read them. I still don't know how easily I would like list them all off like on the spot, but I have been like getting into studying them because you got to realize the Old Testament isn't the old word of God that he forgot about. You know what I mean? Especially the Ten Commandments. The Ten Commandments are there, and they're very prevalent in the New Testament and in our lives today. They're never irrelevant. So I think a lot about how it, like applying them, how they apply to the life of Jesus and to our lives. So that's just something that I've been in the headspace of, especially when I suggested we do this for the Divine Inspiration.
Yeah,
I've
that's
just been-
Super cool.
Yeah.
Well, Jesus does
been great.
reinstate, and like he rather just restates the Ten Commandments. So a lot of people do like argue about that, like, oh, I don't know, that is Old Testament, but no, Jesus himself comes out and he's like, oh, you want to be perfect, you want to live a perfect life, do these things, and he just starts listing off the Ten Commandments. So it's a beautiful thing.
So yeah, I just wanted to say that me studying the Ten Commandments was honoring a hypothetical father-in-law.
I was gonna say. And Vodi, if you're
welcome.
watching by any chance, he knows them now.
He'd be a great father-in-law, I'm sure. Terrifying, a big dude.
Yeah.
Very terrifying.
Also, rest in peace, Pastor John MacArthur.
Yes, I was thinking that when I read out
episode
the
is now somewhat
English
unofficially
Standard
in honor of him, in loving memory.
In loving
Good
memory of
old
John.
Pastor John MacArthur. Love that guy. That guy is incredible. So happy we've gotten
He fed
to
into our lives
see
a
so
lot,
much
yeah.
of him.
Well.
But I do want to add one final note to this, in that we've touched on the first half a ton. That your days may be long in the land that the Lord your God is giving you. That is hugely important because people. One thing that I lead a young men's group, an adult men's group, where, for whatever reason, a bunch of young men are really excited to learn about the history, oftentimes, of the Bible, without wanting to learn the heart of God, and without wanting to learn the heart of the Word of God, and why God sets these things forth. And so a lot of people look at things and they will try to pull certain aspects of the Bible. But one interesting thing to me that most people don't seem to see recently is that God typically speaks in a form of duality that is speaking to the present time and for all of eternity. And in this case, this is one of those cases where you can very clearly see that, yes, honor your father and mother, that your days may be long in the land that the Lord your God is giving you, can apply to the land that they are just about to receive in that sense. However, we know that there is literally a land that God is making for us that lasts for all of eternity. So for whatever limited promises you get to see for the Israelites as they've now escaped Egypt and are venturing toward the promised land, there is now an eternal promise and an eternal promised land for all of us, having now been conjoined, having been added, grafted in to what it is to be of God's people. And so this speaks to us now at such just a much greater level now than even for the Israelites back then. And so with that, I'll just read it off one final time. Guys, honor your father and your mother, that your days may be long in the land that the Lord your God is giving you. I guess with that, we love you guys. God bless you.
See you next week.
See you next week.
I love you. Amen.
I love you.
Amen.
See you guys.